Yeah, somebody outside.
The world is changing. Cities are evolving. With adoption and deployment of digital technologies, cities are now more than brick and mortar. They are becoming innovatively functional and aspirational. Communities are becoming smart. Smart cities are the future.
The basic elements required in a smart city, two things: electricity, constant electricity, and high-speed internet.
In a smart city, the goal is to address growing urbanization challenges with a digital framework. The framework is an intelligent network of connected objects and machines that transmit data using wireless technology and the cloud.
A village with electricity and high-speed internet is already smart.
Smart cities can improve energy distribution, streamline trash collection, decrease traffic congestion, and even improve air quality with help from the Internet of Things.
The right leadership with the right vision, I think, can be able to deliver and change some of our cities to smart cities.
Programmers Foundation is today a major advocate for the development of smart and connected communities and cities in Nigeria. The COVID-19 pandemic devastated the world, but it has also demonstrated just how much digital innovations are needed to serve the society. Innovations that make the people smarter, better connected, healthier, precipitating solutions that have a positive impact and relevant local content. Amos Emmanuel, chairman of Programmers Foundation, constant refrain is that change does not happen on its own. It is influenced by people who innovate. He is always calling and urging innovators to rise and occupy leadership positions in every part of the world, particularly in Nigeria. He is a firm believer that the world innovation cannot be complete without leadership contribution from Africa and especially Nigeria. Programmers Foundation Africa, tapping into the growing, the digital awareness, has taken up the challenge to help the continent progress. Programmers Foundation was established in 2009 by Programmers Software Limited, a long-standing leader in the capital market financial technology subsector that saw the need to fund activities help realize the goal to deliver innovation-led ecosystem for Nigerians. Amos Emmanuel, Chairman, Chief Software Architect for Programmers Software Group, is a prolific software designer and entrepreneur. He has served as ICT backbone to numerous financial institutions in Nigeria with over 25 years experience automating and maintaining more than 100 capital market operator organizations in Nigeria and Ghana with the multiple award-winning Cloud Integra. He is a UN World Summit Awards eminent national expert for Nigeria. Programmers Foundation is engaged in significant work. It is helping Africa harness the power of technology. It is teaching Africa to innovate. The impressive and groundbreaking work that Programmers Foundation has pioneered is particularly important in the light of the United Nations UN Decade of Action on the Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs). The Decade of Action calls for accelerating sustainable solutions to all the world's biggest challenges, ranging from poverty and gender to climate change, inequality, and closing the finance gap. Technology promises to play a larger-than-life role in this quest. Programmers Foundation, through its work, offers Africa a huge chance and gives her a massive advantage. Programmers Foundation may well be Africa's linchpin. Two important segments of Programmers Foundation's multi-pronged approach include the Innovation Bed Africa and Smart City Project. Innovation Bed Africa is playing a strategic role in identifying and promoting indigenous solutions. Since it emerged on the scene, Innovation Bed has made steady progress. Today, it is a go-to organic platform for startups' incubation and multiplication. Without a doubt, Innovation Bed SDGs framework offers Africans a community-based collaborative hub in the areas of mentorship, innovation capacity, development, and entrepreneurship. Indeed, the emergence of an entrepreneurial bespoke IT ecosystem is perhaps the best way to precipitate the growth of the ICT sector with the development of relevant and functional solutions. The way Innovation Bed works is to constantly explore the relationship between technology and broader social issues. Everywhere Africa appears to be behind, Innovation Bed has become a bridge builder, an aggregator, and facilitator. It is spearheading efforts to contribute to efforts to build a digital ecosystem for innovation development in Africa. Innovation Bed has incredible long-standing strategic initiative research partners, including the Global Digital Foundation, ICT4, SIDS, Info Poverty World Conference, Oparazone Global, and Amiable UN World Summit Awards, WSA, eminent national experts from over 180 countries. These alliances have bonded Innovation Bed to advance actions towards the UN Sustainable Development Goal from across the respective countries. The World Summit Awards are a unique award system selecting and promoting local digital innovation to improve society, combining an ongoing series of international events and activities with a global network of startups, social entrepreneurs, mentors, jurors, speakers, experts, government leaders, academia, civil society. WSA is an international platform for cutting-edge examples of how ICTs can impact society positively. Innovation Bed coordinates Nigeria's participation. The vision is clear: to address Africa's greatest socio-economic challenges through innovative technology solutions by offering opportunity platforms for growing quality and knowledgeable generation of startups in the new nation-building transformation agenda. Innovation Bed Startup Opportunities Gateway incubates for promotion, growing innovative African startups and impacting the ecosystem positively. In Nigeria, Members of the Innovation Council comprise of outstanding digital entrepreneurs who have at one time or the other researched, designed, and developed great innovation with positive social impact on the Nigerian society and beyond. Programmers Foundation's involvement in technology solutions embraces smart city. First is the appreciation of the fact that a smart city is not a computer. A smart city is a city that uses ICT to increase operational efficiency, share information with the public, and improve both the quality of government services and welfare. The economic realities in that as more and more people move to urban areas, cities will struggle to cope with the influx of people. The need to create smart cities is becoming all the more unavoidable.
Right. Good morning, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Hey.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Emmanuel.
Yes, good morning, everyone. You're well welcome to today's segment. This is day 2. And the WSA Entrepreneurship and Innovation Bootcamp for today will deal with some brand new sets of speakers. Wonderful speakers this time. And for today, we will be actually looking at business operations, financial management, and its growth. Yesterday, we had many of these by very fantastic speakers. And let me just introduce myself once again. I'm Amos Emmanuel. I run Programmers Foundation, primarily the parent company Programmers Software Limited, and we deal with capital markets operations, and we've done this for more than 2 decades in the country and other countries. And happen to be the UN World Summit Awards National Expert for Nigeria on voluntary service for upwards of about 16 years now. So it's been my great joy to anchor this on behalf of the other WSA youth ambassadors here present, Oyedamola Oshinobi and Mr. Samuel Johnson. But then for today's event, I may just seek to hear from Oyedamola just to open the day, and we can begin to have our speakers. And please, let's just have the speakers kindly use the hand-raising symbol so that we can activate them accordingly. Thank you. So, Oyedamola, please, your short message.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to day 2 of the WSANigeria 2024 Bootcamp. Day 1 was awesome, and I have no doubt that day 2 will be more awesome. Just a quick recap of what we did yesterday. We had about 3 speakers, and some of the highlights we learned were building your solution into an MVP, using the business model canvas to especially to highlight your operations, and then also preparing for the best in your business. I'm very sure that today we are going to learn more, as we already have our speakers on board. The first session today is streamlining operations and budgeting for efficiency, and it will be anchored by Mr. Oluwaseun Agbejimi, who's already on the call with us. Mr. Oluwaseun, you are welcome.
Good morning, good morning, everyone. Sorry, I'm logged in as Oyindamola or Shinobi. That's not by me. Yes. All right. Also, Mr. Shenwagbejim is unavoidably absent, and I will be standing in for him. So let me do a quick introduction. My name is Olatunde Faromini. I currently head investment operations in commercial partners asset management, and I'm happy to be here. I'm sure that I also have my pen and paper, willing to learn from everybody also, because I would like for it to be as interactive as possible so that we all can all learn one or two things. And I hope we have a great time.
Right. Thank you so very much there. Let me assist Oyindamola. I think for the other speakers, we might just have a rundown, and later, when it's their times, we can actually have a proper introduction. Next, we'll be having Mr. Olufemi Chris, a financial analyst, handle basics of financial management, fund options, and financial forecasting, Then later, on Amazon, edits Iro Balachi, Business Development Associate of Commercial Partners, and she'll be developing a scalable growth strategy. So I'm sure for today we have enough to chew, and I'm very happy to welcome our first speaker and the representative of Mr. Oluwaseun Tubosun. You can actually have the floor, please. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Pleased to meet you. Sorry, please give me a second while I share my screen. Okay, can someone please confirm that my screen is visible?
Yeah, it's up. It's up here. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. Once again, thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate this opportunity, and without wasting any further time, we just go straight to it, so that we have to today is really streamlining operations and budgeting for efficiency, and our subtopic is optimizing process for growth and sustainability. Right. So, without wasting much time, let me start with a quote from Peter Drucker. Efficiency is doing things right. Effectiveness is doing the right things. And let me pick. I know that we have quite some understanding about what we talk about, especially for an innovator, right? And I just want to start by giving us a very sad reality about an average innovator, the story of an average innovator in Nigeria and in Africa. Of course, we are aware that most businesses, innovative ideas, it comes from a place of we've discovered some challenges. We want to solve problems, which is really good. We have quite a number of them here in this part of the world. We have quite a number of problems here. And of course, we hope to have many innovators to come on and try to, change the narrative, try to create better ways of doing things. But then, the role of effectiveness while driving efficiency cannot be underestimated. What is the average story of an average innovator in Nigeria and in Africa? The sad reality is that they have a very short lifespan for most of them. We have businesses that start and really just die in 5 years or less. That's like the average for most of the businesses that we have, the innovative businesses, small and medium scale enterprises, right? And what do we think is the reason for this kind of sad reality? Because it is not so. It is not particularly the same in developed or advanced part of the world. We know that in Africa, we are faced with a lot of challenges when it comes to resources. It is not really easy to get funding. We know that we have infrastructural problems. We know that we have corruption. We know that we have quite a lot of challenges that makes it difficult for any business to really start and begin to scale up gradually and then become a thing, in the medium to long term, right? So given that sad reality, we still have examples of businesses that have really done fantastic, that have done 5 years, they've defied the odds the sad reality that befalls majority of innovators in Africa and in Nigeria. They've been able to defy the odds. We have quite a number of them. You can start from you can start from all these deliveries, all these food applications, just a way of doing things better, using more tech, leveraging on technology more to drive efficiency, right? And at the end of the day, we will now see a good African story that speaks about resilience, that speaks about resilience, that speaks about conquering and really just trying to outdo or make sure you do away with all the challenges that befalls an average African business or a Nigerian business. And that's what we are here to talk about, how to make you move from the pool that is really trying to just upscale and try to become profitable to then becoming a household name. We have quite a number of them. I can't even start to mention. Is it all these e-businesses that we have in the country? And that is why we're here, because we know that as good as efficiency is, which really talks about doing things right, as I have on my screen right now, effectiveness is equally as important. So how this is going to go, I would like this to be very interactive. If you have any questions, please, I would like for you to signify by the show of hands. If you have, you can interrupt me anytime you have any question, and I'll be very happy to take them. If you have any comments too, because like I said earlier, we are all here to learn one or two things, right? You can also just stop me, and I will be very happy to respond. Now, let's start with this with a question. What happens when we are efficient but not effective? Can somebody unmute the mic and just help answer? Just give me anything you think at all about what happens. What do you think happens when we are efficient, not effective? I'll be happy to take anyone at all. So I know I'm not speaking to myself.
I'm sure the user wasn't created today, sir.
Hello? Hello?
Of
Can
course, I
you
think
get... Okay, thank you. Adinka, please proceed. But don't forget, when you want to speak, please show your hands and but you can go on, please.
All right, good. So, from the definition you gave, you said efficiency is doing things right, and effectiveness is doing the right thing. Okay, and
Yeah.
and I think that easily signify that if you are doing things right, but you are not doing the right thing, it means you are not addressing problems that are important and urgent at that point in time.
Thank you very much, Adinka. Do we have any other person that wants to give me something else? Very correct, Inka. Thank you very much. Any other person? I'm willing to take one more person, please. All right, please go on, David.
Okay, so what I understand by this is efficient but not effective is you have the morale, you have the energy to do things, but you're not just doing it in the right way, or you're not delivering the right services. It's like having a bike service that is with full speed and everything, but not going the right direction.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate the all that you've said. I think you guys are very correct. And so let me just take you to what I've prepared for you to distinguish between efficient process and that is not effective, and vice versa. So for the best results, aim for a balance between, you have to aim to get a balance between efficiency and effectiveness. And because we look at it here and we say efficiency without effectiveness, you might do things quickly and cheaply, which is really the aim, the goal for an efficient process or an efficient way of doing things. But if you're working on the wrong goals, it wouldn't even matter at the end of the day, right? And that's what Adeyinka rightly said. And also, effectiveness without efficiency, you might achieve your goals, but it will be at a high cost or with wasted efforts. I mean, we already know that the efficiency seeks to do things faster and cheaply, right? In a faster way and cheaply. But it would be nice if it is in balance with effectiveness, because it then means that you're optimizing the resources that you have and you are going in the right direction. I mean, a typical example of this is when you have so let me tell you a quick story, a short story about a coffee shop that delivers coffee. I mean, this is actually a movie that I saw. I can't remember the title of the movie. I would have recommended you guys to see the same. It's an Italian movie, right? This is a coffee shop that is really, they make the best coffees. They make the best. They make the best. But they have issues with delivering this coffee. So what they do is people walk in or place a call. They do that through relationship with the owner. They place a call through, and this guy will take his bicycle, right? He will take his bicycle and go and deliver the coffee. So sometimes when there is rain, it affects the man. He's not able to quickly deliver. When he's not feeling well, he's not able to quickly deliver. Sometimes his staffs might call in sick, and that means that, they are not able to deliver their coffee, the best coffee, right? So sometime the son got thinking. Then he thought about an application that, people can make orders on, and they can also have other people join in on the app. This is just like your average Glovo app or this food court, all these applications, right? Then he looked for a way to he found a way to get a community of dispatch riders. Let me use the word dispatch riders, and they signed up on that application, which meant that they did not have to deliver themselves. They did not have to pay somebody as a staff that would help them deliver these items, right? What then happened? They were able to make more sales because they had more resources, even though it was at a cheap cost. It was at a case-by-case basis, right? They were able to make more sales. They were able to then scale up and become something very big, right? At the end of the day, they found a way to resolve their delivery issues. How did they find a way? The leverage of technology, because this was an application that had a community of people that were into dispatch, and they just come, pick the items, deliver, and it was efficient, because they kind of like outsourced that headache. At the end of the day, they achieved their goal of delivering the best coffee in that side of Italy. And also they made money. They were able to scale. And in a short while, even though the business had been struggling for a long time, they were able to break even and make some profits. So, I mean, on that note, I'll be moving forward to the comparison between efficiency and effectiveness. Don't forget, like I said, if you have any question, you can stop me and you can ask. You just show your hands, and I would meet you. Okay, so basically this is talking about the comparison between effectiveness and efficiency. Don't forget, I already mentioned, we have to strike a balance between both of them, because we cannot have one without the other. If you have efficiency without effectiveness, don't forget I mentioned you're going on the wrong route. You're not trying to achieve the right goals, right? And you're moving fast. It's just like somebody that is going to Victoria Island now faces Ikorodu and is on 100 km/h. I mean, that is a very fast error. You get to the wrong place in very quickly, and that is not the goal, right? The goal of efficiency actually looks to minimize effort and resources. If you look to minimize efforts and resources, you have less human input. You have less people burning out, because you've simplified the process, you've optimized the process, and you have less human input, and that speaks to the effort, and you spend less at the end of the day. But effectiveness looks at achieving the desired intended goal, my intended goal here is to get to Victoria Island. I'm not going to Ikorodu. So I don't want to minimize costs going to the wrong place. I want to minimize my cost and still be on track, trying to achieve my goals. As an innovator, I believe that is very important. Of course, I'm sure we've gone through all the processes of starting a business and everything that is very important, because goal setting is one of the most important things to do when you're starting anything at all, any enterprise, any business, because at the end of the day, that is how you measure your achievements, right? Also, efficiency is process oriented. How can I get to Ikorodu in 15 minutes when the average time takes 30 minutes, right? Of course, if you've been to Ikorodu like myself, there's two different ways to get to Ikorodu. You can go via the speedboats, right? Or you can call it the ferry, or you can go by road. Of course, they have different times. If you go to Ikorodu during the peak of traffic, you might spend 3 hours. But if you go on water, if there's no traffic on water, you might get to Ikorodu in 15 minutes, right? However, we have to make sure that we are not going to the wrong direction. Don't forget Victoria Island and not Ikorodu. Now, for effectiveness measures the outcome. Make sure that the goal that was stated at the start is what we achieved at the end of this process. Even so, you see the more important reason why we need to marry those two and ensure that those two are actually they are actually working together. We are working together. Also, efficiency measures how fast or economically something is done, right? And effectiveness measures whether the goal is achieved. That's the measurement, the yardstick for measurement for this. Also, prioritization speaks to, for efficiency, reducing of waste. I already mentioned it in the first place. What efficiency seeks to achieve, which is really minimizing efforts and resources and making sure that you still achieve the desired result. But effectiveness speaks to doing what's necessary to meet the goal, right? Also, finally, example in action, right? Writing a report quickly and with few errors, ensuring the report addresses the key issues, right? Now, if, like I already made mention of an example using going to Ikorodu and going to Victoria Island, right? You also just have to make sure that there's a balance. You understand the goal and you use that understanding to work on the process that it takes you to achieve that goal, right? Moving on. Now, how do we streamline business operations and budgeting and make sure that they work together? Because at the end of the day, operations being the backbone of the business, if it's messed up at the back end, I'm sure you probably know that at the end of the day, the business would not even work. And you have to make sure that you're optimizing that process in your budgeting, because of course you're planning for the business, you are allocating resources to that to ensure that this is adequately provided for. And of course, it helps you to achieve your goal at the end of the day, right? Streamline operation really means simplifying and optimizing workflow for better performance. I'm sure some of us might have had some experiences of businesses that we've patronized, and maybe it all looks all good from the start, but the operations on the back end somehow is not what we desire. At the end of the day, it messes the business up. It doesn't even make us patronize them at the end of the day later. And of course, budgeting, like we already know, is planning and allocating resources to ensure that the business is good. Financial health, you ensure that the business is not in lack of anything that is important to it, right? We understand that there has to be a very good high level relationship in these two, right? Because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that your business is still able to live. You want to make sure that your business is not stifled by any resources. Like I mentioned from my opening comments about the story of an average business or small, medium scale enterprise in Nigeria and in Africa at large. I highlighted that lack or inadequacy of resources is a major problem that we have as innovators or business owners in Nigeria, right? And that means that whether you leverage on some form of a government grant, if you ever get it, or because we know we have some couple of people that get it, right? Yeah, people get it. It's not by who you know, right? People get it. Or you leverage on some family funding, or you saved up enough money, however it is that you make the money. You have to make sure that your business is adequately provided for. Right? Synergy, streamline operation, identify areas where budgeting can cut costs or improve return on investment. I've already mentioned this, right? Also, budgeting supports streamlined processes by funding tools, training, or technology. As innovators, right, we know one of the most important things that we have to do in a business, because we hope to achieve, to create solutions to problems that we have in our society. That's the whole essence, because of course, you have to have a market that you wish to sell your services or products to. And at the end of the day, if we don't keep reinventing ourselves, which is really one of the things that is really good about innovators. We have to keep reinventing ourselves. If we don't keep doing that, at the end of the day, we might just run out of business because, an idea can become obsolete after some particular time due to many, many reasons. The framework, moving on to the framework, access operations for redundancy. That is why that's why we strive to be efficient in our processes, because at every point, you might have processes that are no longer necessary. Let me give you an example. In my industry, I work in the capital market, basically asset management, right? And there was, before now, I don't know if there's anybody that understands what I'm saying, but let me just go ahead with it. Before now, if you want to have a mutual fund product, I'm not sure. So is there anybody that has heard about mutual fund products here? Let me be sure that I'm not alone. You can just signify by showing your hands or raising your hands. Yes, of course, Mr. Emmanuel, I'm sure that I'm sure. So there was a time where mutual fund products, you needed a registrar, right? It was, even though they were not like primarily important to the fund, but you needed a registrar you needed a registrar. And what do they do? Basically, what do they do? Well, let me tell you what they do. So, of course, a mutual fund product is unitized, right? One of the most important responsibility of a registrar to a mutual fund product, whether a money market fund, fixed income fund, Eurobond fund, and the likes, right? One of the things that they do is they keep the record of the units that any client have. So if a client comes to me and opens a mutual fund account, a money market fund account, say, this client will then, I will send the information whether via email or via a dispatch rider to the registrar. When I send the registrar this information, they will then collate it and store it in their own internal system or however they do, whether Excel. That used to be the case many years ago. Now, when this client does any investments, you send the information to the registrar. When this client is coming to redeem or liquidate their investments, you send this information to the registrar. You get approval from the registrar to make these payments. I don't know who began to think about it, but somebody like you, Adeyinka, somebody like David, just sat down and I was like, this is not a very efficient product, efficient process. What did they do? They came up with, many, many, many years ago, right? They came up with a system that can keep those records. So apart from keeping the records of the investment, the name of the client and all of that, they also process dividends, because the mutual fund investments, they pay dividends on a periodic basis, whether quarterly or semi-annually and the likes. So that's one of the things they do. That's like their most important responsibility on the field. So what did people do? They came up with a software that can keep this information for the asset management companies. So take, for example, we have quite a number of them. I'm not trying to advertise, right? We have quite a number of them, of those ERPs, right? The one I'm very used to, I've used quite a number of them also, right? So they came up with this ERP, this system that can keep the records that the registrars do. Basically, they came up with a system that is more efficient. You don't have to send the dispatch rider to send this record to the registrar. They just came up with a system that could warehouse this information. What then happened after? People now started to see that the registrars are not really that important anymore. I'm speaking to, operations, you are assessing your operations for redundancies, right? Then people looked at it like, well, we don't really need the registrars anymore. Right? If we need to keep our records, this system can do it. If a client needs to redeem, this system can do it. There's no need to send a letter to the registrar to tell the registrar, this client wants to take out 20,000 naira. Does this client have sufficient units to redeem 20,000 naira? The registrar will now write a letter and say, please proceed. The client has enough units, or do you say the client doesn't have enough units? In between that one, you spend 48 hours at the minimum. You spend 48 hours. Now we have a system that, assesses the unit holding of a client. You can give the client online access. They will initiate a redemption and they get it in 1 hour or in less than 24 hours. What has this innovator, because somebody definitely came up with that idea, what has this innovator done? The innovator has cut the expense of the recurring expense, I may say, of a registrar on the mutual fund. What has that done? It has improved significantly the turnaround time of the fund, of the product, of making investments or liquidating your investments. It has increased customer satisfaction. It has increased customer satisfaction by that. What has it also done? It has saved the fund, the mutual fund itself, because it's operated like an entity on its own. It has saved the mutual fund itself costs on because you pay the registrars quite some huge amount of money on the funds. It has reduced costs. And what has that reduced cost translated into? It has translated to additional profit to the business, to the fund. And of course, the profit trickles down to all the fund subscribers. I hope you get my my brief real life example, right? So that is what efficiency aims to achieve, and merging it with effectiveness, right? So that is okay. Mr. Amos, please proceed. I see you have a question.
Yes, just to ask, what did you people do to the old unit trust systems, like the Gloria unit trust, the RIMS unit trust of those ages? What did you do to them because they no longer survive?
I mean, that is the sad reality.
I actually computerized the RIMS unit trust fund, the Gloria unit trust fund. There
Wow.
was also ABC or so merchant bank involved, and so many at the early
Wow.
stage. But then,
Wow.
what did you do to kill them, please?
It's just this just speaks to really when businesses evolve, there are different when you review your operational processes, you check for redundant, you actually look at it and you ask yourself, are they really important? And that is the importance of innovators, because at the end of the day, you have to keep evolving. You have to stay relevant in the market. You have to stay relevant in the business to ensure that no matter what comes, you are ready for the change that comes. I mean, we are all talking about the emergence of artificial intelligence. Literally everybody uses it now. And if you're somebody that your business relies on providing advice to people, and you don't look for a way to make sure you stay in business, basically. You don't look for a way, you don't keep researching, you don't try to do research to find new ways of doing things, to find innovative ways of doing things, the business will die a natural course. They will just cease to exist. And that is what we hope to, that is done where we want to find ourselves. And that's why I started with the sad reality of businesses in Nigeria and Africa, that really they die in 4 to 5 years, really. Some die in 2 years or even less. And that is not who we are trying to raise. We are trying to raise people that are able to do business, and in a short while, they're able to scale and they are able to make impact, which is what effectiveness speaks to. Make impact in the society. And the good thing about it is after you've done all of this, right, you are able to influence the future generation, that though you are coming from a disadvantage, in quote, you are not disadvantaged in Jesus' name. Though you are coming from this part of the world, you can still become anything. You can still become anything. You can become anything. Just don't stop innovating. Don't stop recreating yourself. Just make sure that your processes, you are able to really think about it, balance your efficient product, your innovative thinking, make sure it's balanced, it's effective, is able to impact life, is able to even feed you and your generations to come. All right, thank you, Mr. Amos. You took us way back. All right, so moving on. We're looking at the role of operation in efficiency and effectiveness. As we already know, I think I mentioned also before that operations are the backbone of any organization, right? Because at the end of the day, we have a front end and we have a back end. The operations guys are the back end. And at the end of the day, you make sure that every of your processes from back to front is efficient and is effective, because what goes on at the back will definitely translate to the front. You agree with me when our banks were having this issues with their system. It was a back-end issue. It was a system issue, system server issue at the back end. But if you work in customer service, if you work in customer service, you would agree with me that they receive loads of calls, complaints, emails, and all of that. And that means it's equally as important, because what happens on the back end translates to what you see on the front end. Now, efficient process saves time and resources. We can't overflog this, really. It's actually what it does. If it's efficient, it saves time. I just gave an example of how a turnaround time of about 24 to 72 hours was changed to about 1 hour, 4 hours, depending on the asset management company, right? It was reduced to 24 hours. That's about 33.33%. I mean, 66.6% efficient, right? You made it more efficient by that number of percentage, which means that at the end of the day, right, it makes your business better. You're able to get more income. You're able to get more customer. You're able to satisfy your customer. And you're able to do much more for your business. Effective operations ensures tasks align with organizational goals. Don't forget, we are going to Victoria Island. We are not going to Ikorodu, right? And I have a brief example here. I think I've given quite a number of examples, right? A logistic company optimizes delivery routes to save fuel. That's efficient, while ensuring parcels are delivered on time. That's effective, because the goal is to make sure that you deliver the parcels on time, right? I don't know if there's any statistician in the house and you can tell me what you know about transportation model, right? I think I got my first degree in statistics, and I'm sure every statistician, you did what we call transportation model, which is just trying to do things better, right? We have a goal. We're trying to deliver X and Y at point A, point B, point C, point D. You're not asking me, should I go to A first before I go to B? Which route minimizes my cost and optimizes my process? That is really what it's speaking about. Now, the role of budgeting and efficiency and effectiveness, right? Because like we already said, operational efficiency and budgeting, they work hand in hand, right? Now, budgeting ensures resource allocation supports organizational priorities. Of course, I think I've mentioned this in different ways, right? Because at the end of the day, most important things have to be prepared for. You don't leave your business to, they call it vibes and inshallah in this age, right? You make sure that everything is prepared and is budgeted for, so that you're not in a situation, because at the end of the day, right, you lose more money when you're not adequately prepared or funded for a business. Imagine I need to make some deliveries. I don't have petrol in my bicycle, in my bike. Then I go to these loan sharks. I take a loan at 30%. I take a loan at 30% to buy fuel. You'd be surprised that it can get to the point where the cost of borrowing and stuff like that affects my returns so badly that I'm not even able to make a profit. That's just an example. I'm not saying borrowing is bad for business. I'm saying everything has to be budgeted for. Borrowing is good. I mean, if you're collecting the right, you're not taking borrowings to go and do birthday party, something. And if you're taking it the right way, it's good. Efficient budgeting minimizes waste. We said efficient budgeting. You're making sure that everything is planned for, you've done your investigation, you've done your research, you're sure that everything that you need for your business to grow or to stay afloat is budgeted for. And at the end of the day, you would have cut waste, because that is what efficiency hopes to achieve in the first place. Effective budgeting focuses on funding impactful initiatives. We already mentioned the difference. If you remember my previous slide, so if you remember here, we're talking about, and even I think Adeyinka mentioned the same when we talked about doing the right things and doing things right. That's what we hope to achieve when we effectively budget. And of course, I have another example. UNILAG management allocates funds for both essential infrastructure, effective, and mark the word essential infrastructure, and energy efficient lighting. That's efficient. At the end of the day, right, what do they do? By being efficient, like I already mentioned here, saves cost, minimizes waste. And that is what you actually need as an innovator coming into the market. You need to make sure that you cut out all the waste that might be in your businesses. That means your business have to be very, very efficient. Who can tell me? I mean, let me throw a question to the house. Who is there anybody that we have that is on Telegram here? If you have the Telegram app, can you please signify by showing your hands, by raising your hands? Or you can unmute, you can turn on your camera. Any one of it is good. Telegram. Okay, Adeyinka. Nice. You can unmute your mic. Good. I have quite a number of people. Can anybody tell me how many, if you have an idea of how many staff Telegram has? Do you have an idea of how many staff members they have in Telegram?
Not at all.
Not at all. Okay. But let me ask you, in your own thinking, what do you think? Let me just pick your brain. What do you think would be their like staff size?
All right.
I'm sure you know Telegram is very big, right?
Of course, as a tech founder myself, like a tech developer myself, I think
yeah,
the staff size should be less than 10, because it's
less than 10.
It's a software company.
Yeah.
And
okay.
the software is scalable worldwide.
Yes, it is. It is actually. Right. Is there anybody that can tell me another person? Is there another person that I have on the call that can tell me if you have an idea of the size of Telegram? You can unmute and speak. There's no other person. Right. Adeyinka, nice. Thank you very much. Well, let me just start by saying, on every business, whether tech, as a founder, I'm sure you understand what I mean. There is many sides to it, right? There is the guys that go out to, network and do sales. There's the brand and marketing. Of course, every application still does a bit of marketing. There's brand and marketing. There's the back end. There's the developer. There's the business analyst. So with that little explanation, do you still think they have 10 people?
The thing is, of course, at the initial point,
and they have, sorry to interrupt. They'll have HR, so basically from front end to back end. Do you think they have 10 people?
Okay, if we are looking at, the thing is, if we are looking at the core developers, at the start of when they are building Telegram, okay, as an app, they will surely have less than 10 people. But as they grow, within and beyond borders, okay, the likes of the sales people, the marketing people, the business analysts, the data analysts, data scientists, machine learning, those people come into play, okay. And I don't think they have anything to customer support representative, because they have an AI booth that literally does that on their behalf.
Yeah. Now, that's fantastic. Thank you very much. I appreciate your contribution. I will tell you today that Telegram has 50 apps, 50 staffs, 50. They make billions of dollars every year. They have 50 staffs. Now, if you are looking for a very efficient business, so from front end to back end, well, the owner is also the head of HR, by the way. The guy is maximizing his resources, right? From front end to back end, they have just about 50 personnel, right? Even their developers and everybody. Now, they are making loads of money every year. That speaks to a process that they've been able to streamline to be efficient and also effective. Because you already rightly mentioned their customer support is powered by AI. How did they get to the point where they brought in AI into their app? Why? They were thinking. They kept reinventing themselves. They kept looking at effective ways of driving innovation, of making sure that they stay afloat, of making sure that they stay in business, basically, of making sure that they scale. And Telegram has been around for quite some time. It will be surprising when you see Silicon Valley people that have several hundreds of staff members, and you're seeing Telegram with just about 50. It should be shocking to you. That speaks to one of the most efficient and effective businesses that we even have as example in the world, right? Now, moving forward, thank you very much once again, Adeyemi. Sorry, Adeyinka. I have a friend that his name is Adeyemi. I think that's why I called you Adeyemi. Okay, now moving forward, we have highlighted steps for implementation, right? For any business, really, to make sure that you're able to make profit at the end of the day and make sure that you're balancing your efficient process and effective process to ensure that you're driving proper business that is able to pay you and impact the future generations, and even pay your incoming generations. Now, of course, you analyze the current processes when you're trying to look at your operations. That is one of the first things that you do. That's why a lot of banks now have they call them, innovation, different names, really. You can call them your innovation team. You can call them your process optimization team. You can call them anything. But the first thing is to identify the problem. What are you trying to do? You're trying to identify the inefficiencies in the workflows and cost centers to ensure that you can take them out, right? You can optimize those kind of inefficiencies. The next thing you have to do is to set clear goals, right? Define what and effectiveness looks like for your business or your organization. It varies. I'm sure Adinka agree with me. It varies per business, right? Google has several thousands of staff and Telegram has just about 50. They have different business model, different business structure, different things that they hope to achieve with their businesses, right? And that is why they have to set goals that is bespoke to their business. Another thing is leverage on technology. We cannot underestimate this. We are innovators here. And that is one of the things that we need in Africa to take us out of where we are to where we want to be. We have to look for better ways of doing things, and that speaks to the use of technology. I just mentioned the use of AI, and Adeyinka also highlighted the importance of, how Telegram is using AI to serve as a customer service system, right? So we have to leverage on technology and focus on scalable cloud-based solutions. We have quite a number of them. Let me not begin to advertise. Also, budget. We've mentioned budgeting. We've talked about it. We cannot mention it enough because it's the most important thing when you're setting up a business. Develop a flexible budget that is actually able to help your business. You're able to renegotiate contracts to reduce costs, focus on projects with clear ROI, prioritize high impact areas such as technology, account for fixed and variable costs, and include contingency plans also. Now, finally, monitor and measure. At the end of the day, every of your processes, if you do not monitor the impact and measure the results, you probably might be moving it. In fact, you might not be achieving what you set out to achieve. You have to have KPIs that you use to measure the impact of this, of whatever it is that you're trying to create or the process that you're trying to streamline to drive efficiency, right? If you're trying to make me get my delivery on time and I'm still getting it in 3 hours as I used to, using that as a KPI, you have not really done much, right? So you have to ensure that your process, you have good enough KPIs to measure the impact of any efficient process, anything that you're trying to drive at all, right? And of course, you have to continue reviewing them and refining the process. Mr. Amos, we just spoke about the unit trust now. You have to make sure you keep relearning. You have to make sure you keep checking your business and models and ensure that they are actually good enough as of the time you're in. Now, what are the challenges? We have challenges, but of course, we don't focus on that.
We lost him.
You lost his sharing.
Apologies, I will just try and call him in. Give us just a few seconds.
That's right.
Please give me a few minutes. He will join back shortly.
No problems. Okay.
Hello, can you hear me? Apologies,
Yes,
I had
please.
Apologies, I had this technical issue. Apologies. I'm trying to share my screen again.
We need innovation there.
Yes, we do. We do. I'm trying to get access to be able to share my screen back. So, I mean, this far, do we have any questions? Do we have anybody with any question so far? Okay, I think I'm sorry, I'm almost there. Okay, I think. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
All right. Apologies, I'm having a challenge there. But I mean, while I'm trying to get my screen back up, because I'm closer to the end of my presentation, do we have anybody with any questions, comments that maybe something we haven't, maybe something I haven't touched on? You just want to share some examples, or you have some advice for other people also on the call? Okay. All right. As I was saying, okay, we were here, the challenges and the solutions, right? The challenges, I mean, we talked about this is basically resistance to change. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So resistant to change, misalignment between operations and budgeting priorities. And of course, the solutions are listed just right in front of it. Engage stakeholders early, communicate benefits clearly, and seek professional advice where there isn't, where you're lacking in that, right? Now I'm moving to like the last few slides that I have. Now, the expected outcome. A budget, first of all, tells us what we can't afford, but it doesn't stop us from achieving our goals effectively and efficiently. But how do we do that? By reduction in operational costs, right? Where you check for your system, you see, like the asset management companies checked, and they saw that the registrars were no longer important, and they cut them off. We have several examples of this. I made an example of the coffee shop when they had a staff that was staying in and they were paying, but they didn't have to do that anymore when they got an application and a community of dispatch riders, right? Improve service delivery and customer satisfaction. I think this is also embedded in some of the examples that I gave earlier. I think we've given quite a number of examples. And also enhance decision making through real-time data insights, like I also mentioned earlier, right? You have KPIs to measure the processes that you're driving, how effective or efficient it is, what you hope to get, because you have your goals written and you have the KPIs to make sure that that is being achieved. And in situations where you see some gaps or you notice, okay, there's something for me to do here, you are able to make decisions with real informed, real good data information to help you make those decisions, right? And of course, when you do those kind of things, you'll not be taking a step in error, you'll be making the right decisions. And of course, it leads to sustainable growth and optimized resource allocation. Now, this is my very first, my last slide speaks to streamline your operations, budget wisely, and watch your efficiency and effectiveness soar. And we've drawn this cell. I'm sure some of us remember this in mathematics, right? So when you have good enough process and people also to drive your processes, and you have the adequate tools to drive those, to assist the people to drive those processes, you would have had operational excellence. And that'll be it for me. Thank you very much, everyone. I hope you had a great session, and I'll be taking questions, if any. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. And quite frankly, if anyone here is an innovator, I will actually want you to refer to almost everything that the speaker has spoken about, because the opportunities in innovation is for you to be able to make changes, create changes. When you create a change, that creates the new job. You know, when you say you're a job creator, what are you creating? It's either you create a digital service or you create a digital product. Either of these two are job creations. And that is why you say you are starting up. Starting up with what? We are starting up with a digital service of some form or a digital product of some form. And that's what keeps you in business. And of course, grows your bottom line and brings food to your table regularly. That is, by that, I don't know why you're waiting for government or a politician to tell you they want to create 1 million jobs when the politician doesn't even know what the job is. I told people yesterday, I don't see anything called job anymore. It's nowhere to be found, and it's not coming back unless you create them. You know, these are actually the realities. And we've actually been put through the entire, scope of how businesses need your innovation by way of being effective, by way of being efficient. And these are the great lessons that we've seen today. In fact, in the capital market that I'm aware of, if I've done more than 20 years in the capital market, there were far more than many of us that we started many years ago. And you realize that it's a market that keeps evolving. Things will keep changing. Even from year one in 1997, when brokers were to start automation itself, what did Nigeria do? They went outside Nigeria to import a system from they import a system from Canada, from EFA Software, and they implemented. And that software, what did it do? It was to give local operators a whole lot of stress because people didn't understand the entire process and the entire architecture of what the capital market business in terms of automation, digitization was going to be like. What we did then was just to come up with something that is very simplified, very, very simplified. Drive a small process, improve it over time. No matter how small you are, try to imbibe into ISO, create some standard operating procedure for what you do. Your corporate governance should also be intact, and you are on top there, and you'll be very, very competitive. So thank you so very much. And please, if we have questions, you can still unmute yourself, share your question, or you can also drop them, and these questions will be communicated for further feedbacks to you. So we'll give you some time to do that.
All right.
Yeah, SOPs as in standard operating procedures. So any questions?
Good day, sir. Yeah, we would like to get the slide from Mr. Oshinobi.
Oh, yes. We'll try.
That wouldn't be too much to ask
He'll be
for.
kind enough. We obviously will be able to share the slide. Mr. Oshinobi, any further?
Okay.
Yeah, I think let me mention again that my name is Olatunde Faromini. So
Excellent.
Yeah, it was the link that I used that is yeah. So
thank you.
Yes, we can get.
Please, I particularly would like to connect with you in the market. And what you have presented goes a long way to see that the capital market is there. And that is why the bankers, quite frankly, the bankers are not there yet. And that's why we're having the challenge today. The bankers had the opportunity, I'm a banker, but the bankers had the opportunity for them to be able to give themselves solutions that are theirs. But they were looking at the clouds. They need to use the pinnacle of this world. And for us that had to prepare local solutions in the country, I don't know how to resell a foreign system. I've never sold even Microsoft product for any day. So it was actually something I had to write from day one, and I keep defending. What am I doing? I'm just defending what I wrote almost 30 years ago. What am I doing? I'm just renovating. So please, this is just what it is. And your product is your product. What you just pray for is your intellectual property so that someday somebody doesn't just swindle you and take your product away, which I'm also a victim of, but we've learned out of this and we are, kind of programmatically protecting ourselves because we don't have a country that protects you. You need to also digitally and programmatically protect your products. These are part of the process we're talking about.
Thank you very much. And we see now that Nigerian banks are beginning to explore local solutions to their businesses and operations. It takes off the exchange rate volatility and the impact on their books, which is usually very significant if you look at the way things are right now. So yeah, it is time that Adeyinka, David, and every one of us try to give locally generated solutions to problems that we have around our societies. And by that, would get the Nigeria of our dreams, hopefully very soon. Thank you very much. And I think that'll be it from me. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tunde Fawumi. Thank you so much for that. We'll move straight to the next session right now. And Mr. Olufemi Chris is already on the call. Okay. So I'm going to make a co-host now, and it will be speaking on the basics of financial management, funding options, and financial forecasting. Mr. Olufemi, you have the floor now.
All right. Hi. Good morning. Hello. Can you hear me? Hello. Can you hear me?
Very well.
Hi. Good morning.
Your sound is good.
All right.
Very well.
All right. Great. Thank you very much. Hi. Good morning, everyone. All right. Trust you're doing good. All right. So let's get this started. Okay. So this second session, right? This session basically is supposed to talk about finance for business, basically. So we're supposed to talk about financial management, the basics of financial management, and funding option as well as forecasting, right? So I'm going to assume that everybody here is in the business space. So I'm just going to go ahead into some things and not clarify so much of the basics, right? All right, great. So, I think
sorry, Mr. Olufemi, your right to share is available, sir.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. All right, great. Okay, let me do that in a minute. Let's just give me a minute. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Still loading. Okay. Okay. Sure. All right. Can you see my screen currently?
Yeah, it's loading. It's coming up.
All right, great. Okay, can we see my screen clearly now?
Yeah, we can.
Please, if you can see my. All right, great. Okay, great.
I think there's a lag
great.
between the audio,
okay.
So you're not getting response
And the
immediately.
video.
Audio.
All right. Okay. Okay, just give me a minute then. Let me rejoin the call. Maybe there's a glitch in the system.
I think you can continue. The sound looks good. You can go ahead, please.
All right, great. Okay. All right. So, like I said before, we'll be discussing basics of financial management, funding options, and financial forecast. So, I believe from the topic, this focuses on business owners and entrepreneurs in Nigeria, right? So, to get started, I would start with the basics of business, right? The basics of business finance, right? So, and I would say for you to actually understand, basics of financial management, for you to understand funding, right, and forecasting, you are really concerned about building financial foundation for your business success, right? So for you to actually do this, there are some things that you need to understand. And the first part of what you need to understand is that when it comes to business, right, it's not just black and white, like, oh, the money should just come in, you spend the money and everything disappears like that. Then whatever is left in your account at the end of the month is what you feel like is your profit. Actually, it's not your profit as an entrepreneur. I know that very big entrepreneurs know this, that business is not just plain like that. It's not just black and white. If you make a millionaire in revenue, that does not mean your if you have 500,000 left at the end of the month in your account, that does not mean 500,000 is your profit or something that you can spend, right? So for us to go through the basics of this, the first thing we need to know is when it comes to business, you have to pay attention to the numbers, right? It sometimes can be boring, right? But you have to pay attention to the numbers as much as possible, because when it comes to running a successful business, right, it's the numbers that will tell you what to do. So say, let me give you an example let me tell us a short story before I get into the main session, right? So yesterday I was helping a friend, right, review books of his business. So the person that I know of, I think last year the person did over 100 million in gross revenue, right? In revenue. So when I was going through the person's books for November, I noticed something. Although the person's sales is, I mean, for you to be doing 100 million revenue, you look like you have a solid business in Nigeria, right? But when I was going through his books yesterday, I ended up writing a comment that was almost as long as an article, because I went through the entire Excel sheet and I see that, oh, there's a lot of information there but the information are actually not giving out. There are a lot of data there, but the data are actually not giving out any information to the business owner, right? And to even maybe business stakeholders, maybe potential investors and all, right? And this is mistakes that most individuals make. Either they make the mistake of they don't even document anything in their business at all, right? Or by the time they document, they just write everything down, and at the end of the day, it doesn't really make anything useful for them. So to make it easy for us, I would start with I said the title of the session is building financial foundation for business success, right? So we'll start with the basics of financial management, right? So basically, for you to understand financial management in business, you have to know three things. Basically, you have to know cash flow management. You have to be able to know profit versus revenue. Then you have to know financial statements. Those are the three basic things when you want to understand financial management in business, right? So for cash flow, basically, most I think I've seen enough to say most people in Nigeria that they claim they are SME owners, they are entrepreneurs, go for seminars, webinars, and stuff like that. They don't really understand this, right? And it really shows when you discuss with them and when you try to maybe help them scale their business and stuff like that, right? So what is cash flow management, right? Cash flow is all about being able to understand what comes into your business, right? And what goes out of your business, right? So it's basically tracking the money that comes in and the money going out, right? Let me give you an example. So it say I run okay, I run a restaurant now, and say we are doing about say 50 million in revenue, right? We are doing 50 million in revenue. I need to know how much coming in total, right? And even I need to know how much coming every day of the month, which day was the highest, which day was the lowest, how much comes in every day, every week, then how much are we spending? Because at the end of the day, either if your business is doing 100 million in sales, but you are not managing the cash very well, say your business did 100 million in sales this month, and by the end of December, you are seeing that you only have 1 million in cash in your accounts. I don't think that's really like a good business. So that means 1% of your total cash, 1% of your total revenue is what you have left in the bank. You have to know what happened to the entire 99, right? So that's where cash flow management is very, very important as basics of financial management. It simply means that as a business person, as an entrepreneur, you have to know what is coming into your business in terms of cash, right? You could even if you are dealing on say receivables or payables or anything, right? Or you are dealing on the cash flow basis, right? You should be able to know how much cash is actually coming into your business per time, right? Either you are tracking it on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, right? You should be able to know how much comes into your business, then how much is going out of your business, right? And I think most entrepreneurs find it difficult in some cases where say they spend business fund on personal stuff, right? And they feel like I should not document this. I should not write this down. I should just assume that it's part of the business profit. But I think I hold a very, very different opinion, right? So there's something we do in one of the businesses that I run, right? We try as much as possible. I put the structure that we try as much as possible to document everything that comes in and everything that goes out. Even if we have to say we have to buy airtime for personal use, we're taking it from a business pocket. We still document it, then we label it, we comment on it in the Excel sheet that okay, this data was bought for the CEO, this data was bought for the manager, this data was bought for the operation lead, right? This airtime was bought for this. We paid for fuel for the operation lead. Maybe the person was meeting with some business partners or with some vendors. We try as much as possible to write everything down. And the reason why we write everything down is this. Most I think I learned this very early this year that most businesses in Africa, in Nigeria especially, we don't build with the mindset that we can actually scale or we can sell or hand over our business to another person. I mean, everybody feel like if I own a business, I should not be having the mindset that I would sell the business. But for someone, I have a very contrary opinion, right? So if I'm running a business, I always run it with the mindset that I can actually sell it to somebody, right? I should be able to sell it to somebody. And if you're running a business with that mindset that you can sell it to somebody, then you have to approach it with, I have to put structure around everything. I have to do everything as easy as possible. That say I'm not around for 3 months and I give my business to somebody, the person will run it easily, right? And you can't expect somebody to run your business easily if your cash flow is not making sense. If you're telling me that you made 100 million revenue last month, but I'm saying, say 5 million in cash, I want to know where did the remaining 5 million go to, right? Which is something that you have to do as a business owner. You have to understand that it might be tedious, it might be sometimes stressful, right? But you have to do it because doing it ensures that you know where the money is coming from and where the money is going to. And when you need to maybe play around liquidity for your business, you know how to move the number, you know how to move the money around. If you know that, okay, 10 million is coming from here, 10 million is going here, you can know how to ensure that your business has liquidity. When it comes to making strategic moves in the market, when you have competitions and all, right, knowing how to move your cash around and knowing how to play with your business liquidity can really go a long way, right? And that's just the first part of the basics of financial management. The second part is understanding profits versus revenue. I feel like most entrepreneurs in Nigeria know what revenue is, they know what profit is, but there's a little bit of, I would use a little bit of Gen Z slang here. There's a little bit of delusion around what they think profit is, right? So they're a little bit delusional when they are thinking of their profit. Permit me to say that, right? So when they are thinking of their profit, they actually don't know what the real profit is. So let me give you an example. Your revenue as a business is whatever you sell to a customer, whatever you charge a customer, either you're selling a product, you're selling a service, or whatever you're doing, your revenue is what you charge a customer, right? That's what comes in. But your profit is divided into two, right? Your profit is not always the profit that you see first. Most people feel like, say I'm an online vendor now, I sell maybe sneakers online, right? And let's say I'm doing drop shipping, right? I'm doing drop shipping. So say say I I took an order from a customer, then I confirm with my supplier, do they have this particular brand? Yes, the person has. Then I communicated everything, we finalized the stuff. They moved it to the customer. The customer got their product already. So if the product was sold for say 50,000 naira, right, and my supplier charged me 30,000 naira for it, so that leaves me with 20,000 naira. But an average business person in Nigeria would think that 20,000 naira is your profit. It's actually not your profit. It's your gross profit, right? When you're looking at profit, like I said before, it's divided into two. There's gross profit and there is net profit. Gross profit simply just means that when you remove the direct cost of providing a service or a product to your customers, when you remove the direct cost from your revenue, that is your gross profit. Hence the word gross. Overall, your gross profit, right? But that does not mean that is the profit that the business actually has. Because out of this profit, you say your business has somebody that manages social media page for you. You have somebody that does branding of nylon for you. You have somebody that does this for you. You have somebody that does this for you. If you have to deliver the show with the nylon of your brand, yeah, the nylon might be, maybe it might be 10 naira, the cost might be 10 naira, but at the end of the day, you have to still remove the 10 naira from the remaining 20,000 naira, which you assumed was your profit. So what most entrepreneurs that are just coming up in Nigeria do is they just feel like the 20,000 naira is my profit. I mean, if I spend 15,000 naira, I can still have 5,000 naira left for the business and stuff like that. But it doesn't work that way because at the end of the day, you spend airtime, you spend data following up with your vendor, your customer. Maybe next time you have to still go to somewhere to meet something, to do something for the business. You have to, when you remove all these other expenses that they don't appear so obvious, like expenses that you need to spend on. When you remove all these expenses, that's when you are left with your net profit. And your net profit is actually what the business itself own, right? So when you look at it this way, you're able to build sustainability for your business, because for your business to be sustainable, you have to be able to pay your bills every single time. So if you're out of the 50,000, let's for our case study now, our case study of the sneaker, it's 50,000 naira, you made gross profit of 20. But if you calmly calculate your little expenses, you discover that 5,000 naira is supposed to even go to other expenses. Then you are left with 15,000 naira as the gross profit, as the net profit, right? When you look at this, you now understand that, oh, as a business owner, you can't just take out 15,000 naira out of the profit of 20,000, because the actual profit you have is 15. Then out of the 15 itself, you have to now understand that for your business to be sustainable and be growing, your business can be sustainable and not be growing. Self-sustaining means it's just running in cycle, right? So imagine you draw a circle on paper. You can be going around the circle every year, year over year, month over month. The circle is still the same. But if you want the circle to get bigger, that means you want your company to get bigger, you have to reinvest part of the net profit that you think is what you can spend as a business owner. You have to reinvest it back into the business again to get the circle bigger. And when you keep doing that, the circle of your business keep on getting bigger, right? So that's the second part of understanding basics of financial management for business. Then the last part of the basics is being able to read financial statement, right? So there's something that I've noticed with most business owners in Nigeria. Most, I would say most, right? I mean, people that have business between 0 naira to say maybe 5 million, or say maybe 10, sometimes people that have business between 20, 30 million, they actually don't really keep books. They don't keep books, right? By books, I mean, they don't have financial statements, right? So, before we go into this, let me tell us a short story, right? So, earlier this year, I was opportune to work on a project for a client abroad, right? So what they do is they look for businesses that people want to sell, right, in US, and they look for buyers that are looking to buy the business, right? So say for example now, you own a car repair shop, right? The person looks, they come to your, they contact you, they review your business, right? Then they find you a buyer. If you want to sell your business, they find you a buyer that would buy your business. What I was doing basically for the client was I was reviewing the businesses that were to be sold or given to other clients to buy, right? But there was one thing that I found interesting. It was the fact that these businesses were not super big. They were not Amazon big. They were not Facebook big. They were not, you can't even know their name, right? Their businesses, like, they only have maybe one office in one town. But when I was looking at most of these businesses, all of them had one single thing in common. All of their books were documented. I mean, from from their revenue to what they spend, what they see, maybe the owner of the business spent on vacation and everything was properly documented. It made it so easy that if the person was supposed to sell their business, right, you just look through their book at a glance and you can know, oh, this business is worth this amount and is worth this amount. But when you look at Nigeria, maybe 20% of small businesses, maybe 10% of small businesses have something like this, right? Maybe sometimes they just write it on the paper, but they actually don't have financial statement. And if you're doing cash flow management, you are doing your profit and revenue, you can't actually do this without understanding this. It's more like the three goes hand in hand, right? So financial statement is different from bank statements, right? I've met with people that have businesses in millions that they think financial statement is actually bank statement. I was recently speaking with, I think I spoke with somebody 2 months ago. I was supposed to do a valuation for their business that if I'm supposed to calculate off my head, the business would be worth maybe 30, 40 million. I mean, that I know of, sometimes they did about say 25 million in revenue for like 6 months, right? I mean, I was asking the person, "Oh, do you guys have do you guys have records of your income and expenses? Because you guys want to sell your business to somebody else. The only way I can help you guys tell the person that it's worth this amount is if I go through your books and I can do a little bit of math around it and say this is what the business is worth mathematically. Then you guys can now maybe negotiate and all." But I was surprised for the person to say, "Oh yes, we have bank statements." And that was where I knew that, okay, it's not about the size of the business. It's about you actually knowing the basics of financial management for your business, right? So financial statement, it's a document, right? Say 3-piece document that shows that shows what happens in your business, basically, right? It shows what your business owns, it shows what you owe, it shows what you are making, it shows the flow of your cash and all. So let's look at reading it, right? So the reason why I added this is because this is a boot camp. It's supposed to be like, say, a speaking session. This will not be there because it's more detailed, right? So if you want to understand basics of financial management as an entrepreneur or as a business owner, there is no way around it. You have to be able to read a financial statement. That's like the basic thing. When you understand that, oh, you have to manage your cash, you know what comes in and what comes out, right? And what's going out. You can't do that by just writing it on your notepad or on a sheet of paper or anything. You have to do it in such a way that it makes sense to you and it makes sense to potential investor. And there's this thing I always tell people. I've been telling people recently that if you're running a business, run your business with the mindset that you want to sell it. Like you can wake up the next day and say, I want to sell this thing. The reason why I'm saying that is because if you run your business with the mindset that you want to sell it, you will do everything in a way that it is sustainable, it is well structured. It's just like saying you buy a phone. If you buy a gadget now or a phone and you're using it with the mindset that I will sell this thing soon, you use it in such a way that if you still have that retail value, you can sell it for as high as possible. The same thing with your business. If you're running a business with the mindset that you can actually sell it anytime you wake up, you will put your finances in order, you put your financial record in order. Because there is no way you want to sell your business to say, if you are selling your business to say Tony Elumelu now, Tony Elumelu is not going to just take your word by it, say, okay, you're telling him on the call that, oh, sir, we made 500 million last month, and we are thinking if you are going to buy our business, maybe we should buy it for 1 billion or so. I mean, if you look at what Nigeria is saying or what Africa is saying in the next so years, you make all this money back very fast. It sounds sweet, but can you show me from paper? There's this adage that I learned recently, that in God we trust. Every other person must show their numbers. It's as simple as that. In the business world, people trust God. Personally, I trust God. But every other person, you show your numbers, you show your books. Because you can't show me your bank statement, right? And say that is your financial record. It's not the same thing. I don't know if you have applied for grants before or stuff like that. Okay, let's take, for example, Tolu Elumelu grant. If you apply for his grant, they will ask your business for financial projection. They will ask you for financial record. And most time they also ask for bank statement. It's 3 different things, right? So let's get into how to read financial statement as a business owner or as an entrepreneur. So when you're talking about financial statement, it's divided into 3 parts, 3 basic documents. We say financial statement, it's 1 document, but most time it's 3 documents. When you look at it technically, it's 3 different documents. But the good part of it is, as a small business or as a medium scale business, if your business is not so big, they're not trading in the range of say 100 million and above, you actually don't have to do the 3, to be very sincere with you. So say your business is still 3 million, 4 million, 5 million. You don't have to do the 3, right? Because it will be stressful for you and you don't have so much time. As a business owner, I personally believe that 70% of your effort should be focused more on income producing activities, not paperwork and stuff like that, right? Which is why you can go by the business is still in the early stage with 1 of these documents. But I would explain what the 3 means, then we'll focus on the one that you would primarily need, right? So the first one is income statement. The second one is balance sheet, right? The third one is cash flow statement, right? So income statement simply means statement of operations, profit and loss, right? It is statements that shows whether you made profit or loss, right? That's what it does, nothing more. It just tells you that from running your business for um say 2 months, how much, or from running your business for this month, what was your profit, what was your loss? Did you make profit or it was loss, right? That's what income statement does, right? Let me ask this question. I don't know if I'm allowed to make it very interactive though. Am I allowed to do that?
Please go ahead.
All right, great. So please, I would love to make it interactive for us. Oh, I've not been using my audio. Okay, let's do my video. Let's make it interactive using my video. All right, great. So if you have been running a business before, right, and you have your business account, not your home personal account, your business account. By the way, if you say you want to set your business up for success and you want to focus on the basics of your business finance, there's no way around it. Your business should have a business account, not your own personal account. And trust me, it doesn't take so much to have a business account. It just takes something as little as getting your business name registered. You don't have to incorporate and do all those stuff. You can just get your business name registered and go to a bank. They will give you a business account and you can use that, right? So if you run a business before, have you ever noticed when you generate your bank statement? When you generate your bank statement, what does your bank statement shows? Does it show the cash that comes in, or does it show your cash that comes in and cash that goes out, or it shows you your profit and loss for your business? Does it show, which one of it does it shows? Are you still with me?
Of course we are.
All right, good. So who would like to answer that for me? I just want to confirm.
Yeah, I think it's straightforward. It will show cash coming in and cash going out.
All right, great. So it just shows you the cash that comes in and cash that goes out. But at the end of the month, it doesn't tell you how much profit you made or if you actually made loss from running the business that month. It's not bad to actually make loss. It's not bad for a business to maybe do minus something at the end of the month. Trust me, it's not bad. For years, Amazon was actually in minus before we see the big Amazon that we are seeing now. Somebody was funding Amazon loss for more than 5 years, right? If as long as you are playing long term, the numbers will make sense on the long run, right? So that means that if you are relying on the bank statements, the statement that your bank would give you, that means it doesn't. That if you are relying on the bank statement, that means you will not be making the best decision for your business because it will not tell you whether you made profit or you made loss, which is where you will need the income statement. Then when you move to the second document, which is the balance sheet, right? Balance sheet basically shows the statement of your financial position. By statement of financial position, let me put it simple. It basically shows you what your business is worth. On paper, your business may be doing 5 million in revenue, but the business may actually be worth maybe 1 million. It's possible, right? Balance sheet basically shows you your assets, right? It shows you your liability, right? It shows you your asset, it shows you liability. It's as simple as that. This is what your business owns. This is what your business owe or something else. That's all. So when you look at balance sheet, it's always balanced. That's why it's called balance sheet. If your business is owning, say if your business has asset of 1 million, it could maybe have equity or what's it called, debt that would equivalent to that amount. It's as simple as that. So balance sheet basically shows you how much your business is worth, which is why I said earlier that for early stage businesses, you might not have to concern yourself with the 3 documents. It necessarily does not need balance sheet. If your business is still just starting, you are still in a range of say 10 to 15 million. You actually do not need it, right? Then the third one, I would actually prefer if I'm done. Is that fine?
Okay,
yeah.
copy that.
All right, great. Thank you very much. So then the third one is cash flow statements, right? Cash flow statements, like we said earlier, if you have been paying attention, you know what it is does. It basically just shows you the cash that comes in and the cash that goes out of your business. But in this case, it's now categorized for you. It tells you what the cash is going out for, what the cash is coming in for. Because there are some cash that may actually be going out of your business, but they are not regular expenses. Say, for example, now, you're running a business, right? Say you're a tailor now, you're running a business and you've had, say, 3 million in sales, right? And this month, you decided to invest, say, 500,000 into new machines, right? That were able to do different design. When you look at your bank statement, your bank statement will practically show you that you spent 500,000 naira on. Maybe what you get is maybe a little bit of description of what you spend the money on. But your cash flow will actually show you what category that expenses fall in. And when you look at cash flow statement, it will show that it is not just normal expenses, right? It will be under the assets, right? Then when you have, say, a cash coming in from into your business, it will tell you where the cash is coming in from. Either it's coming in from sales, right? Or it's coming in from financing activities. Financing would be maybe you got money from your investors, or you yourself, you are funding the business more. So it's not just when you look at cash cash flow is not just straightforward. It's not just black and white. Money comes in, money goes out. No. What kind of money is coming into your business? Money is coming into your business. Is it revenue or is it financing activity, right? Financing activity means maybe you met Tony Elumelu in one seminar and was like, oh, I like your business. Come to my office, and he gave you, like, say, a check of, say, 50 million. It will come into your business account, right? But that's not sales. It's basically financing activity. So that's what your cash flow will show. It just help you categorize the cash that comes in and cash that goes out, right? And another thing that cash flow statement shows you is it shows you when the money actually comes into your account. Because when you're running business, when you get to a particular stage of business, you don't make all the revenue in a day. By that, I mean you might sell a product and not get paid fully the same day, right? Say you get to a stage where you start dealing with B2B, right? You say you are selling clothes now, you're selling Ranex, right? And a bank asks you to supply Ranex for maybe their one activity or anything, and you're supplying maybe 1,000 units of it. There's probability that they might not pay you fully, right? But on your income statement, the income statement will tell you that you guys made a sales of, say, 1 million last week, right? But it's your cash flow statement that will tell you that out of that 1 million, actually, it was 300,000 that came in as cash. The bank is saying that they will pay the remaining over the remaining months. So you see how when you have all these three documents, it helps you to understand what your business is actually doing. So cash might actually come into your business today, and it's from a sales that happened maybe in September, right? But you understand what it means if you understand all of these documents, right? So this is basically what I've explained before, right? It's just a little bit of visuals around it. So income statement shows you your revenue, it shows you expenses, right? Then it shows you your profits, right? When you have your total revenue, you remove your expenses from it, you remove your profit, and when you remove your expenses from it, the expenses are basically in two categories. Your direct cost of producing that stuff, of getting the product to the customer, which is called cost of goods sold, COGS, right? Then you would have another category of the expenses that you have that makes this expense is SG&A. SG&A simply means selling, general, and administrative. It means all those petty expenses that do not actually go directly into producing or getting the product to the customer, right? I mean, the expenses that are not directly tied into producing your product or your service, they go into SG&A. It could be data for you as a CEO. It could even be dinner for you as a CEO. Say maybe you are trying to land a client. Maybe you are trying to make a deal with a branch head of a company, right? And you want to make a deal that would maybe bring in 50 million to your business, and you invited the person to a dinner in a fine restaurant. Actually, as a business owner, you can actually record that expense as it was for a dinner and it's for this purpose. So when they want to And they would actually feel like it's fine, because if I want to buy your business, what I would just is, if you say you guys spend 1 million to take people to dinners and close deals like that, I will assume that if I can get it done without taking them to dinner, I will just add 1 million back to my net profit. And the money is still in the business. It's as simple as that, right? Then the next one is balance sheet, right? It shows you your asset, it shows your liability, then equity. When you add these two together, it must be equal to your assets, right? Equity simply means what your investors or the business owner own part of the business, and liability is basically loans, right? Then asset is what the business basically own, right? Then the cash flow shows. Oh, this is still a little bit very. So the cash flow basically shows your opening balance, all the cash transaction that happened, then the closing cash balance. What the cash look like at the beginning of the month? What happened during the month? Then what's left at the closing of the month, right? That's what the cash flow does. So I took the liberty to add a little bit of income statement here, because as a business owner, no matter how small your business is, even if you don't have the three financial statement, you should have this, which is income statement, right? Because it basically shows you what you are doing. So I was telling a partner of mine, right, in one of the business that I run, that the reason I had to explain the reason why I implemented very strict financial structure around the business, right? There are accounts that we don't make transfer from. There are accounts where we make transfer from for daily expenses. Different accounts for different purposes. Then when we make expenses, we have to record it. No matter how small it is, even if it's 1,000, even if we are paying to fix somebody's car, we still have to record it. And I have to explain to the person that the reason why I'm saying we should record all of these things is because at the end of the month, we would have stressed ourselves doing this and doing this, doing this and doing this in the name of we are running a business, we own a business, right? But at the end of the month, when we are going to bed, we should be able to ask ourselves this question of, was it worth it? I mean, you might be doing it for passion, but financially, was it worth it? And what will tell you financially if it was worth it, if you actually did business or not, is your net profit, right? Is your net profit. So let me give you an example now. I hope we can see my screen. You can see the numbers on my screen, right?
Yes.
Please, you can see. All right, great, amazing. So this is what an income statement look like typically. So these lines here like these are say for 1 month. This maybe say this is January, February. This January, February, March, and say month like that, right? So imagine this is a business. This is somebody that owns a business. This says this is somebody that runs an online business or something, whatever business we can use as a case study. So what income statement will show you is this is your revenue, right? Your revenue, you made 102,000 naira that month, right? And the direct cost of producing the goods or the service that you sold to your customer was 39,000. Normally, as a normal Nigerian that like to flex, we will assume that 62,000 is our profit. I mean, I sold one product for 100,000. I mean, it was 39,000 that it cost me. Then the remaining is just 62,000. That's my profit. I mean, if I keep 10,000 in the business, I still have 50,000 to myself. But actually, that's not your actual profit. When you now come down, you now discover that you have to pay salary of say 26,000. You have to pay rent and overhead 10,000. You now discover that the machine that you bought, say you're a tailor now, right? The machine that you bought, their value is not the same. The moment you buy an asset as a business owner, it will start depreciating. If you don't know, it's as simple as that. Say you buy a machine as a tailor and you start using it. Even if you service it again, you repair it, you buy new parts, you start depreciating because every asset that you buy as a business has a particular, what's it called? It has a particular lifetime it must spend before it actually, the value is at scrap value. So say you buy an asset for 1 million. If you're supposed to use straight line depreciation method and I divide it over 4 years, say the lifespan is, we assume that the lifespan is 4 years. What we just do, we just divide that 1 million by 4. We are saying that for every 1 year that we use the machine, 250,000 naira in value of the machine has left the machine. So after the first year, the machine is only worth 750, right? So if you calculate stuff like this, or maybe amortization, this is a little bit of finance jargon, right? If you add that to it, you subtract that, you discover that, oh, your expenses now are high. Then if you had interest, say maybe you took a loan or something, you had interest of 2005, right? Then you discover that you have another category of expenses that was now 59,000. Then your earning before tax is 3,500. Say you have to pay tax again, Caesar will come for it. Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. You have to pay 1,000 naira, 1,020 naira to Caesar. Now, what is the actual profit of the business? It's just 2,470. You see that you can be having a business, you can have a business that is making 100,000 in revenue, and at the end of the day, the actual profit that you can actually spend or that belongs to your business is actually 2,000. It's as simple as that. But if you are not keeping records like this, you don't understand what this is, you don't even know how to read this, how to document it, you basically not know that if you start spending personal, say you take 5,000 a year, you're already doing your business the service, you're already damaging your business. You start spending from this your gross profit. It's as simple as that. And when you look at this number, because maybe let's say this person paid attention to this number over time, it has been improving. It has not improved to the extent that because the person has been recording, right? Say by the time the person got to December now, the person has been able to make adjustment to his business, right? And now at December is the last one. If you can see my screen, that's 242,000. The person is now spending 84,000 naira in cost of goods, so direct cost of selling their good. Then they are having a gross profit of 157. There's still salary, there's still rent, they still have to pay rent. There is still depreciation if they have, there is still interest because they have a loan. Maybe their interest now, the loan has reduced, they're only paying 1,000 naira in interest. Now, their total expenses is 70,000. Their earning before tax now is 85,000. So initially, at the person, which is half of this, but their net profit was 2,000. But when you look at December now, because the person has been recording everything and they've been doing things that would improve the profitability of their business, this document, remember, this document basically show you profitability of your business. Is your business making profit or your business is making loss? So because the person has been paying attention over time, the profitability of the business has been increasing from the get-go, 2,000, 11,000, 21,000. Now, the profitability of the business is 61,000. So that means when you compare this is more like double the revenue here. Is more like double of this, right? We can assume it's double of this, and the net profit is way, maybe times, I don't know. That's like 30 times what this is, right? But you can't know this is happening in your business if you cannot even document it. You don't even know what all of this thing is. You are not even able to read a financial statement, right? And that is the basics of financial management, right? For businesses, right? Now, let's go to the key part of it, which is, let's go to the next part of it, which is budgeting, right? So that's actually not so hard. Budgeting simply means that as a business owner, you have to understand that if you have expenses, if you have income, you have to sit down and strategically think of how you want to spend. Say your business is now making 60,000 or 60 million, right, in net profit. You still have to think strategically. How do I want to spend this 60 million naira? Now that I'm 60 million naira in net profit, how do I want to spend it? Is 30 million going into investing into the business to expand the business? Or I'll just take 30 million or take the whole 60 million. I mean, next year we'll make the money again. I'll just take the whole 60 million and go to Dubai or Maldives. I mean, it's been a tough year in Nigeria, so let me just go and enjoy. That's where budgeting now comes in. Budgeting simply means you are allocating your resources. This is what you assume will be the income and stuff like that. Then this is what you assume that will be expensive. You now strategically allocate it to put your business in the best position possible and to expand your business, right? And you can't do all this without understanding that what you are doing basically is record keeping. Record keeping simply means that you document every single thing in your business, right? Every expenses, everything in your business, you document it, right? So now to go to the very last part of it, right, which is the funding, right? So as a business owner, you have to understand that in some cases, no matter how much you are making for your business, it will not be enough to scale the business. You have to leverage, which is where other people money comes in. OPM. It's called OPM in investing. Other people money. Other people money it's basically money from investors, maybe money from your friends and family to scale the business, right? And you have to now understand that if you want to fund your business, either as an early stage entrepreneur, as a new business, right, or as an existing business that wants to expand, you have to understand the options that are available for you. The options are you could use your personal savings. That's like basically the first option. If you want to do a business, nobody's going to believe in your business. Sorry to do this. Forget the perspire to aspire. Nobody's going to believe in whatever you're doing unless you actually show a skin in the game. A skin in the game is you put your own money in the business. That shows that you believe in it. You put your own money in the business. Put your money where your mouth is. Then people would feel like, oh, you believe that this thing will work. Then people will start believing in you. So you want to start a business. I feel like it's not what is said on popular big stage, right? Go work somewhere if you not be working, or find a way you can get money personally and invest it in the business. Then people can invest with you as well. Then that's basically self-funding, personal savings, your work. You could be working full time and still be building a business. Yes, it's possible, right? Then the next one is debt financing. Debt financing can come as a bank loan, right? Or maybe a friend lends you alternative vendors, or maybe you use credit with your vendors or alternative lenders or anything, right? This idea simply is you need 1 million. The person says, I'll give you 1 million, but you give me 1.1 by the time after 1 month. It's as simple as that. It's basically straightforward. But there's something you need to understand. Before you go for any loan as a business owner, you have to understand the ROI of the money you are taking. Because for loan, there's for every money that you take as a business, there's something called cost of capital, right? Even if your investor give you money, there's a cost to it. The cost is you are giving out a certain percent of your business. That's the cost of capital, right? If you are taking loan, you have to understand your cost of capital and the ROI. You have to make sure that your ROI is higher than your cost of capital. That's how you can afford the loan. Say you take 1 million, you use it to do business, and I'll be making 1.5. It makes sense if the person says I would pay 1.1 back, because at the end of the day, if I remove 1.1 from 1.5, I have 400,000 left. Cost of capital and the ROI must always be above it, right? Then now going to the second stage, the second part of the funding options that you have, which is equity, right? Equity simply means that you're giving a part of your business to somebody in exchange of money. Your business is 100%. You divide your business into, say, 2. I'll give you half. You bring half of the capital. It's as simple as that. Now, when you're not looking at equity, sorry, you want to say something?
No.
All right. So when you're not looking at equity now, there are different ways you can get equity. Equity, sorry to put it, it's not complex, right? But I have to give us the blame so that we don't make a mistake. I've made a lot of mistakes, right? When it comes to equity is not straightforward, right? There are different dynamics around equity. I could give you equity, and in like 10 years, I can own more than you own as a business owner, right? I mean, there are different dynamics to tweaking it and stuff like that, right? Say for example now, if you want to raise money now, when you are raising money and an investor is telling you that they will take, say, 20% of your business, right, for social amount, no matter what the amount is, but they are putting a clause that their equity would not be diluted at all. That I feel like that's something very delicate that you have to consider, because if it's not diluting, that means no matter what, if you bring in 1 million investors later and your business is, say, as big as anything, you as a business owner, as the founder, your equity will keep on reducing, because that's the concept of dilution, right? By bringing in more money, you're diluted. Maybe you want 80% before. 20% becomes 70, then you raise money again, it becomes 60, then it becomes 50, then it becomes 40. But with that clause of what I just said now, that very early stage investor that I feel like is your friend that took 20% and gave you, say, 100 million, but said his equity will not reduce. That means if you keep on raising money till the head of the head, till Jesus come, they will still be only 20% of your money, of your business. So if you make so much, business is worth, say, 1 billion, they will still be only 20% of 1 billion with that single clause, which is very delicate. So equity is not as simple as we see it on the tech blog and stuff that somebody raised $10 million in funding to. It's very delicate. You could raise equity and end up with 5% of your own business, right? You have to understand it. But I'll give us the basics, right? When you want to raise funds, there are different sources you can consider for raising equity, right? The first is friends and family, right? Friends and family. You can talk to your friends, your family. They have maybe savings. They can invest in your business in exchange for a part of your business, right? You could give them equity. Then the next option you could consider under equity is angel investors. Angel investors is just basically maybe somebody you meet randomly. You pitch your idea to them. They find it fascinating and interesting. They make their own research. They feel like, I want to be part of this. Then they give you money. Hence the word angel. They don't know your daddy. They don't know anybody. They just met them somewhere, and they believe, and they are just one individual. Sometimes they may come as groups, maybe a group of angels, investors, and stuff like that, right? That's the whole idea, right? They just invest in exchange for equity. Then the next one is it could be accelerators, right? Accelerators is just programs that teach entrepreneurs how to build their business. Then they also fund the business. Then they take a certain percent of the business. Example is Y Combinator, right? There's Techstar, right? Those are the examples. You could apply to those businesses. They are building startup to raise funds. Then another one is venture capitalists, right? Venture capitalists are basically, in simple terms, they are business on their own, but they are in the business of funding people. They are in the business of funding another business to succeed. Let me give you an example. An example is what's it called? Ajim Capital, right? There's Ajim Capital. There is Nigeria. Ajim Capital is really not in Nigeria, but it's in Africa. There's a VC firm owned by Dr. Ola Brown. I can't remember the exact name now. Wow. Right. So venture capitalists are just businesses, are just organizations like that. They set them up with the sole purpose of funding other businesses, right? And when you approach people like that, they will consider your business for funding, and they feel like, oh, this supports what the kind of business that we're investing in. Then you guys can start discussing the terms and all. But one thing you must understand is, if you want to get to the stage where you are discussing funding equity with either your friends and family, your VC, angel investor, and stuff like that, everything that we discussed around the basics, you would have done them like to a very good degree, right? Because by the time you get to the door of an angel investor or say a VC firm, right, they would ask you to show your record. Show your record does not mean you would show them your notepad of how you've been calculating your income. They must see what your net profit look like. So you see that it does make sense. Say if somebody is saying you should come and invest in a business that's been doing this, they said January their net profit was 2,000. By the end of the year, their net profit is now 61,000. You feel like, wow, you guys are growing very fast. It looks super sweet. And this kind of business now makes sense to an investor to invest. Maybe you can go by your friends and family because they believe in you. They give you money without actually looking at your books. But when you start looking at all these options, angel investors, VC, right, they will look at your books. Then another option for funding is grants. Grants can come from NGOs, can come from organizations like, say, Tony Elumelu Foundations, right? It could come from government programs and stuff like that. But in cases like that, in some cases, maybe 70%, most of these organizations will still ask you for this document. Tony Elumelu Foundation do not take equity. It's equity free, right? But they still ask for this document. And I believe the reason why they ask for this document is to ensure that you actually know what you are doing, that you're actually into the business. Because you can't tell me that a business owner and I want to give $5,000 or $10,000 now. and you tell me you don't know how to read an income statement. So if I give you $5,000, if you use $5,000 to run business, $5,000 multiplied by 1,006, that's almost like 7 million. If you run business with 7 million and you're telling me you would not, at the end of next month, you will not know what your next profit look like, I feel like that's bad as an entrepreneur. So I will not consider you for funding. You do get the idea, right? Then another thing now is you now have to understand, okay, so it will be reasonable for you to go for debt, maybe bank loan or something as an option for you for financing your business. In some other cases, it will be reasonable for you to go for equity, right? And there's something that I think I should say is the fact that at early stage of your business, especially if you're running a traditional business, go most be very careful of loan, especially bank loan, because if you don't know your numbers very well, you most probably crash the business, right? I mean, I'd done the opposite, actually. I'd done the opposite. There was a business that I started. We started an upscale restaurant, right? I mean, we had invested over 100 million at that time, but we got to the breaking point where most entrepreneurs get to, and you feel like you need somebody else to help you step in. So we opted in for bank loan. But before we opted in for bank loan, we didn't take bank loan when we were starting the business. We took bank loan for operation of the business. That's simple as that. That's one thing about me. I would really not hide the details unless I don't want to talk about it. We didn't take the bank loan to start the business. We built the business, built everything, infrastructure, everything, do some level of stocking, even with our own money. But when it got to the operation, just operation, working capital, the little bit of working capital, that was when we opted in for bank loan. And the reason why we opted in for bank loan is because we had done our numbers, right? Let me give you why it makes sense now. You can take a bank loan in some cases, but you have to understand your number. Like I said, your cost of capital must not exceed your ROI, right? So for us, for that business, actually, we're looking at, say, 35% per annum, right? That leaves us about, say, 9% per month, right? I've always taken for 3 months. But I understand our math that what we're supposed to use the money for is for stocking of some expensive drinks, right? And I know that in the business of hospitality, right? I know for maybe guys that go out and people that go out, they can be selling a bottle of water in the mall for 115 naira. But if you go to the gym, it's sold for say 200 or 250. If you go to a restaurant, it's sold for say 500. If you go to a more fancy restaurant, it's sold for 1,000. If you go to a club, you could buy a bottle of water for 3,000, right? So it does make sense if I borrow money to invest in that kind of stuff, because I know that if I buy one drink for 50,000 naira, I can literally sell it for 75,000, or I will sell it for 80,000. And on the ROI, I've made more than the cost of the capital that I actually secured. That's the idea. If you have to understand which one will pay your business at that point, which one will not crash your business, right? And then I think the last part of it is financial forecasting. Financial forecasting is simple actually. It's something that you can do with pen and paper. Although when you go to the technical part of it, it can confuse you a little bit, right? But at the simplest form, financial forecasting simply means that your business has been doing 10 million revenue. You now imagine, right? We're optimistic that if we are able to do X, Y, Z in the coming months or in the next 2 months, your business will go from doing 10 million revenue to doing 20 million revenue. That's the basics of financial forecasting. But you can't do forecasting, you can't do financial forecasting, right? You can't do financial projections, you can do forecasting or projection. You can't do financial projection for your business unless your business you can't do financial forecasting for your business if your business has actually not been doing bookkeeping, you've not been recording stuff like this. So let me go back to this last page, right? Actually, this document that we're looking at is a financial projection, financial forecast, right? These blue ones is the actual data, what the business has been doing for, say, 5 months. Then the projection now says that if we assume this and this, if I assume that I'm selling in only Akure alone, right? If I sell in Oshogbo, if I sell in Lagos and I sell in Ibadan, we can make this in the next 5 months. That's the basics of financial projection or forecasting. And forecasting, you have to understand that as your income is increasing, your revenue is increasing, your expenses is increasing, then your net profit is increasing, which is where you have to know how to play your game around the numbers and stuff like that. And the reason why you do financial forecasting is if you want to raise funds, you want to secure funds from investors and all, they would ask you to show a financial projection. What do you think if I give you $1 million now, your business is doing say 500 million in revenue. If I give you $1 million now, how much do you think your business will be able to do in the next 12 months? Show me on paper. Then I'll look at it. Does the number make sense? Yes or no? I'll give you money. I don't give you money. So that's the basics of financial management, understanding funding option, and financial forecasting for a business. Thank you very much.
Wow, that was grand from a financial expert, and quite frankly, both from on the part of an innovator, I do see a lot of people have quite a lot of brilliant ideas they want to innovate on. I'll give you an example, like you are trying to automate a church system, you know, and I know I've mentored quite a couple of people years back now that it's not just that I'm looking at the process, but please, once you are building straight through processes that are on top notch and all of that, please let all this sink into financial management. If it does not sink into financial management where accounting can take charge, even the church is a responsibility and has to account for itself. So this is actually why this the knowledge of the financial and accounting is really essential. And there's actually can't be any innovation without you dovetailing into what can even say what's the finances or what have you of the church, no matter what it is, or mosque, what it could be, because it should just settle into you can report. Right. If you have any question, any question for, okay, please, Mr. Dinka.
Yeah, I have a question. Yeah. Can we ask, Mr. Chris?
Yeah, please go ahead, Mr. Dinka. Please go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much. That was a brilliant. It was a brilliant and insightful session. Sincerely, yes. Now, at that point, I begin to have a kind of like not just the guiding principles and fundamentals of financial management, but I so much understand it to the point that I can practically teach another person. This is the first time, and I need to be sincere about it, right?
Thank you.
That's basics. I love basics a lot, right? I love basics. So the thing is, my question is, and this is coming from a real life experience, right? You talked about the cash flow statement, which is the intersection of cash coming in and cash going out, right?
Yeah.
For a business, I have a tech startup. For so long, should I say for the past 12 months, I've been bootstrapping. That is, using my personal funding, my personal finance to fund my startup. Okay. But whenever I'm doing something for my startup with my personal money, okay, the money is coming from my own account to get anything for that startup, right? It's coming from my own account. What do you think are the implications or possible effects from that point of view, in which the money is coming from my own account, but the money is not coming from the business account, despite the fact that I'm bootstrapping? That is one. That was my first question. My second question is you spoke about balance sheet, right? Which is the statement for your financial position. Okay. And from your explanation, you spoke about the balance sheet being at the intersection of three things: the assets, the liabilities, and the equity. Right? Now, for the asset now, I know there are two categories of assets. We have the tangible asset and the intangible asset, right? What part of this asset are we considering when it comes to balance sheet? That is considering your business financial position. That is my second question.
Sorry, I didn't get
And my
that. You
last
said what part? Sorry, I didn't get that. You said what part of?
what part of the asset
Yeah.
should we consider, or are we considering? Okay,
Yeah.
when having a balance sheet for our business, that is considering the financial position for our business.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And again, the last question, which is the last question. Some people always talk about financial projection. Some people
Yeah.
always talk about financial forecasting.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think is the difference, or are there no difference, or is just an overlap?
Okay. Okay. Good. So let me start from the third question, right? When you talk about financial projection and financial forecasting, right? If it's related to business, it's practically the same thing, right? Right. So say for example, now look at this. I don't know. So this document you are seeing currently is a complete financial projection and financial forecast for a business, right? Look at this. That's, like I said, assumptions. You have a lot of assumptions, right? Then because you've not been to the future, you can only assume, right? And the assumption has to be realistic. Put in data, use data to make informed assumptions, right? Then this income statement, this balance sheet, right? This is cash flow, right? This is this. Then you cannot use the whole essence of doing this is to make informed decision, right? Then you cannot look at some things like this, ratios, what this will look like and stuff like this, right? So basically, financial forecast and financial projection for a business is the same thing. Forecast means you trying to say what will happen in the future. Projection means it's more like you are leaping into the future. It's basically the same thing, no difference. Did I answer that? Then now back to the first question. The first question is you've been spending out of your personal pockets and personal accounts for the business in some cases, right? I think that's actually cool. It's fine, right? You're not doing yourself disservice. The only disservice you are doing yourself is that if you have to negotiate, if you have to discuss with an investor on the value of your business, you might not know actually what your business is worth, right? Because one, you spent out of personal pockets, and you might not be writing all of them down. And two, because the investor can see that you spend 50 or 100,000 naira on something. It's not because you'll not be writing it down. So to save yourself, what you could do is be writing it down. So for example, I was talking about cash flow the other time. That cash flow, your cash coming into the business can either be maybe cash from investing, cash from operating, or cash from financing. So now, in this case, this business 2016, there's 70,000, say maybe it's past 70 million. Let's assume 70,000. 70,000 came into the business from financing activity. So say you are using this kind of template, what you could do is say, when you spend 50,000 naira for your business on personal accounts, you could record it as financing activity for your business. That increases the worth of the business. So that means I just financed my business with 70,000 naira, right? You get the idea? Or you could even make it a debt stop. I just borrowed my business 70,000 naira. Then you can now come here in 2018 and say, okay, 70,000 naira that I borrowed my business, I want to take 20,000 out of it. Then you record it for the business also as repayment of debt. Is still under. So the cash is moving in, cash is going out, but it's showing that it's under financing activity. It's not for sales, it's not for operation and stuff like that. You get the idea. Then when you look at it, you can see what your net income looks like, what your depreciation looks like. These are cash flow operation, cash flow based on operation, right? That answers the second question. Then that answers the first question. That makes two. Then there's a second question, which is sorry, I'm trying to remember.
The balance sheet, that is the intersection of assets, liabilities, and equity. What kind of assets are we considering for the financial position of your business?
Okay, so in some cases, most cases, businesses consider tangible assets, what you invest in that you can actually value. But in some other cases, most time, what will show on your paper is the tangible asset, the physical asset that you can see, right? But if you now have some other means of valuing those assets, you can actually add it to it, right? Say maybe you have a patent now for your business, and the patent is worth, say, globally, it's valued at, say, $1 million. There's also stopping you from adding the $1 million to to your assets, right? But if you have intangible assets like that you cannot value, maybe supplier contact, maybe list of customers that you have, like database of customers, existing customer. Obviously, you can't value that, right? Because they are loyal customers and you can't put a price on that kind of asset, or maybe intellectual property. Where those assets will now come in is, at certain point, say you want to sell a business or you want to get investor, you still have to do a rough estimate around what you think it is worth. Say you have a patent now, and the patent allow you to make a product for only yourself in Nigeria. Obviously, that patent is worth something, right? At that point, you have to, if you are say investor is coming in or anything, it's a factor that they would consider when they're valuing your business, either you are selling or they're just investing. Does that answer your question perfectly?
All right, good. So we consider both the tangible and the intangible assets when trying to have an understanding of the financial position of every business, be it small business and software related business.
Yeah.
Thank you. Copy that.
You're welcome.
Hello, good afternoon, Mr. Chris.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Hi, good day. So I have some questions, but my questions, first of all, let me start here. First of all, thank you so much. Then, secondly, please, are there places where we can learn about business finance and finance generally? You could also recommend some materials and maybe articles as well as to how we can put together our financial books. Because it's one thing, you've said a lot, you've given a lot of sheets. I myself, I make use of Excel every now and then. Can't say I'm so great at it, but what are the details that we should be recording into our books? How should we also record this information? Because not all of us have a accounting background or putting together a financial statement. I read my statement every now and then. And so my third question now is around the psychology of finance and psychology of money. Just this morning, even before this meeting, I was going over my bank statement. I have 2 corporate accounts and a number of personal accounts. And why did I go through? So I had to look at my personal account and looked at how much money I had left. And then I looked at my bank statement this morning. Total revenue that I've done alone this year is way ahead of 60 million naira. Profits is way ahead of 8 million naira. And then I was now like, okay, 8 to 10 million. I was like, okay, where did I, spend all of this money? So I sat down, I looked at my responsibilities and I picked one person. And then I detailed how much I had spent in the last 3 months on that one person, because so many things had, gone on. Then I'm looking at it and I'm like, right now, I'm looking at it, I'm about 630 something thousand naira on just one person. And so I'm like, okay. And I have siblings. I have 5 siblings. My grandma just passed away recently. We are done burial and everything. My cousin is getting married in December. I paid for clothes, I bought shoe, I paid for this. And all of this money is coming from my business, right? So, my business is not it's consulting. So I don't have to buy a lot of things. I don't have to buy machines or, do all of that. So you can imagine that I set my price. My profit margins are like way ahead of any cost I could incur. Yeah. So, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? I know it borders around psychology rather than technicalities, because as at this moment, I was very frustrated, and so now like, okay, fine. Obviously, I have poor records. Obviously, I am mixing up, my company's money with my own needs. Do you get? And I kind of realized that, okay, maybe there are some things that I do now that I don't even need to do, or I should not be doing, So what do you have to say to that?
Okay, so let me start from the last one, right? So concerning that one, I think where you are spending the money, right, is not actually the problem, right? It's not bad to have responsibility, to have emotional attachment to people and feel like you have to cater for them. It's completely fine. But what is important now is, are you documenting it? Right. So say, for example, now, you say your business is in consulting. Say I want to go into consulting now, and I'm bringing, say, about, say, a decade of experience, and I feel like, oh, Alex, let me join you as a business partner. Let me become a partner in your consulting business now. How much is the company worth? What would be my own buying capital to get to the business, right? Obviously, at that point, I'll have to go through your record. Either you had spent for family or not. actually, when it comes to making real business decisions, the actual real reward, people do not really care where you're spending the money. What really matters is how much are you documenting it. You know why documenting matters, right? Because when I come into the business as a partner of your consulting business, we are spending, say, 1 million for Ashwebi and stuff like that. The moment I join as a partner, we can't just go directly and spend 1 million Ashwebi because you have to inform me first, right? And I have to agree with you. You get the idea? You get the idea, right?
Yeah.
So at that point, it becomes our own both of us, it becomes our responsibility to judge how we want to spend the money. But what the record you've been keeping will show is the capacity of the business. The business has been making money. How you are spending the profit, it's now your own personal decision, right? But I feel like one thing you could do is do the documentation better, right? Just do the documentation better. If you are spending on personal stuff like that, maybe in your income statement, right, or under your SG&A, right, you would have a category for yourself. Take yourself as an example now. Have an expense named after you, right? And you start whatever you spend for Ashwebi, whatever you spend for this, keep adding it to it. By the time somebody wants to buy into your business, or they want to buy your business, they want to become a partner, what they will do when they are looking at the record of your business is they would add all those amount that you spend on Ashwebi, friends and family and stuff like that. They will add it back to what is in the business and they will treat that as the net profit. So if you remove all those, what you do is all those Ashwebi and stuff like that will go into your SG&A. It will look like your net profit is maybe 1 million instead of 8 million. It will not be 8 million again. It's probably be 2 million, right? So say if I want to now buy the business, right? What I would do is I will now add those discretionary expenses back to the net income. That's what I'll be doing. So if I see, say Alex Ashwebi, Alex dinner with maybe babe, dinner with somebody, what I would do is if every of those expenses is now 4 million and your net profit is 2 million, what I would do is I'll just add the 4 million back to 2 million, and I can say the consulting business has a net profit of 6 million. Then it makes sense for me to say I'm buying your business for say 6 million. So I'm buying it for say 7 million, right? Or I'm buying it for say 20 million because on the long run, 3 years, I'll make the money back, right? But if you didn't document it, I will not buy your business. You know why? You're telling me that you're making 8 million, you're making 16 million in revenue. Your net profit is 8 million, and I'm looking at your bank account. I'm seeing 1 million. Yeah, something wrong. You get the idea?
Yeah. Something very wrong.
Actually, talking about where you can learn. For me, right, I think if you're not really going into the finance part, you're not going to become a professional at it. Where you can learn is a little bit limited. You could do YouTube videos, just check up some stuff like that, how you can read income statements. Unfortunately, I do not have a video on how you can read income statement. If this is recorded, this is maybe like the first video that I will have on how you can read income statement, to be very sincere, right? So although in 2025, right, Olufemi LLC would be like making documentation like that. It's one of the things that I've actually found as well, that in Nigeria, say you are running business in Nigeria, if you look at how you can read income statement, you can hardly find one. I was telling my virtual assistant before this call that I want to record everything I'm saying in this call so that I can document it as an article, then add images so that people can actually go through it. Because I've talked about how to read income statement in at least 5 different places, and I don't have a video of how you can read income statement, right? That's funny part. Right? So I plan on making that maybe a course or an article or anything later, but I mean, you could also do that. So I hope I answered your question perfectly.
Thank you.
But
yeah.
do YouTube video. You can take YouTube video and stuff like that. Yeah.
Thank you so very much once
again.
Yeah,
I do YouTube videos. I'm very into YouTube videos.
Thank you so very much once again. Quite frankly, financial analysis and financial finance actually generally can be very interesting. Can be a very interesting, and that's actually what actually helps someone like me who could start a stockbroking software immediately after taking some education from there after my computer science. And today you have a capital market that is leveraging on finance and banking experience done locally. All these things about the accounting, particularly at the point when the owner of the business is spending his own personal monies from time to time. is just to be sure that, just like he has said, is just to be sure that on the chart of account, every business will have a structural backbone, something called the chart of account, where every account name is given a title. Now, on this chart of account, whether as an asset, a liability, and the rest of them, is just to make sure that that accounting structure understands you as an entity. And whatever you spend, like you said, has to be documented. When it says documented, it means that every bit of such monies has to be that if I go to an account activity of that particular selected GL, I should be able to know that I have spent so much from my pockets. And when it comes to time for returns, you are accounted for. Nobody obviously will cheat you. You are free to spend money. It can come from any source anyway. So, but then that was a beautiful one. Thank you so very much, Mr. Femi. So, Olufemi, and make our progress down. We'll actually receive our Amazon, and our Amazon next is Edith Erogbalachi, Business Development Associate. And I'm sure she's going to say more because I really want her to introduce herself better. And obviously, we can't really say much at this point that and for whatever we do, we should be able to sell ourselves and say what we do so that we can actually make others get to understand and appreciate. So at this point, developing a scalable growth and strategy by Edith Erogbalachi. You're welcome, madam.
Thank you very much, Mr. Amos. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me see. I'm sorry I cannot share my video, but can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. But let me just share my screen before we start the session.
Yes, you can now.
Okay, I can share my screen now.
Very well, yes.
Confirm you can see.
You'll see it come up, not yet. It's coming up.
Okay, is it better now?
So is there?
All right, thank you, everyone. Okay, so I know amidst the whole situation that's been going on, everybody is waiting to hear how well they can scale their business. My name is Edith Erogbalachi. I work with commercial partners, asset management specifically. We major on selling fixed income securities to both high net worth individuals, institutions, government entities, even religious entities on how best they can manage their funds. And one big thing about asset management is that you have to be able to sell value. And how can you give value is majorly on being able to know how to set your strategies right. If you set your strategies right, you know the target market to, that is lacking on something and you focus on that. And that is usually the major things that most companies like Uber, Bolt, they don't necessarily have to increase their costs, but you just see them being very strategic. Right? So we are not going to really be going too much on our slides. I just have a question to throw to the house before we kickstart. So can anybody just give me their thought on the difference between scalability and dominance in the market? What does it mean for a business to survive and for one to be dominant? You can just try. Anybody?
Okay. Can I try?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
All right. So
well, just tell me, like, really, not necessarily definition. You could have a conversation. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. So I will just personalize it to what I do. So in terms of scalability, it just refers to your ability for your business to grow, for your business to be able to reach out to more people,
exactly.
A larger audience, and for you to be able to target that reach to either sales or business, transfer of value and money.
Yes. Thank you.
dominance would be having a great share of whatever markets that you are in, being able
Beautiful.
to be the main source of that value creation. I wouldn't say the main source, but the most popular one, having the largest mind share.
Beautiful. So it still goes back to scalability. And I like the fact that you emphasized on without necessarily having to increase your costs, right? The main goal for every company now is to be able to make more money without actually having to spend more money. And it's possible if you get technology right? So on my own end, I say scalability means your business can grow efficiently, maintaining or even improving profitability as you expand. And I'll put the clause to it, without a matching increase in your cost. Let's look at, for example, Airbnb. They operate in about 220 countries without even owning a single property. Look at Bolt, Uber. They're everywhere, but they don't own how many? How many of these cars do they own? They just got their technology right. So without scalability, growth most times would not work because more customers often, have headache with high cost, operational chaos, just really just, there's inflation. And if you want me to patronize you and your cost is not as competitive as other people in the market, no, I will run away, right? So if you want to get scalability right, you have to be able to manage costs at the same time, make improved decisions. Now, what are the 3 pillars of scalability? One, we want to look at a scalable business model. What's your business model? How do you operate? What's your turnaround time? I manage the mutual fund here in commercial. And one thing I noticed about the retail markets is this. You have customers that want to make money, but they don't want to take risks. But that's true. Even me, myself, I want to make money, but I don't want to take risks. And I have to sell, right? I have to make my KPI, right? We have to meet our target for the end of the year, right? So what's my aim? My aim is to make a business model and develop strategies that can help me to still onboard these people and meet up with my targets and still attend to their difficulty, which is risk management. Another thing is technology and automation. You have some people that just feel like, I have to be present somewhere before I can make an impact. That's not true. Since after the COVID, you've noticed that a lot of people are able to run their businesses off the office space. Most people work online. Most people are even present internationally. They're expanding their business internationally without having to be there. Why? Because they leverage on technology. You have CRM tools for email marketing. You have SMS marketing. You can reach out to people. You have Google Ads you can use for marketing. You have Zoho. You have so many opportunities on social media that people just feel like it's just about getting the latest news. No, a lot of people are using technology for scalability on a very high level. Look at your business, ask yourself, what process can I automate? What process do I not necessarily have to manually do? And it also reduces your salary cost, right? So, to retain customers, you really have to look at your ability to automate your processes. Now, lastly, let's look at our customer-centric focus. How do you retain customers? I go out every day speaking to a few companies. I'm talking about partnership. I'm talking about collaboration. How can I make more money? How can I bring more customers? But how am I retaining the ones I already have? Customer experience. That's the biggest thing that any customer or any company can prioritize. Customer experience. How do you give back to your customers so that any day they remember that service, you are their first call? For me, I put a lot of strategies like referral campaigns. In the office, you see me doing a lot of in-house campaign. I go to universities, I do campaigns, I do partnerships with Waka Now, OPay, Money Point. Why? Because these platforms have grown. They already have the target audience, and I can leverage on it through partnership. So one very key thing is partnership, right? Also, maintaining the customers that you already have. What incentives do you have for customers that have already said, oh, I'm going to buy this product, but I want to make more money by buying this product. So it's like I'm saying, buy my product and still make money. That's a very good strategy in sales, right? So you want to do customer incentive, you want to do programs during festive periods. You see a lot of people saying, oh, grab this festive offer now, right? So one very important effort that we all need to look at is customer retention. Then you see Apple fan base. A lot of people say, oh, you're comparing Samsung to Apple. No, Apple have done a very good, they've gotten their customer retention strategy. And that's one thing that a lot of people miss out in the market when it comes to brand organization. Now let's look at a case study. We can say, okay, let me just use Uber for example. I remember when Uber started, then we were all saying, oh, how are these people going to make it? How are they going to this? How are they going to that? Uber has partnered with almost 40 automobile companies. These companies are able to sell their cars. At the same time, Uber is also able to make their money. Let's look at us, for example, investment firms. What are the kind of companies we can partner with? Travel companies, people that want to travel without having to bring out a bulk of money at the point of taking that trip. So you need to always think ahead. Okay, I want to achieve this by the end of the year. What strategies am I going to put in place to improve my business? What strategies am I going to put in place to be able to give back to my customers? And that's one thing that most business owners do not always look into. Do we have any questions? Does anybody have any question before we go ahead? All right. So now, overall strategy map, brand building and trust. I know that we Nigerians, one thing that we always don't really get right is the fact that we need to build trust in our company or in our product or whatever product that we sell. It's not just about revenue. It's not just about getting customers. It's not just about, hitting your targets. What trust is there in the market for you? When somebody calls your name and say, oh, I want you to use this company, I want you to invest money in this company, can they speak well of you? People take these little things for granted, especially even as little as just, having one-on-one conversations with your customer. People don't see the need. I was speaking to one real estate lady recently, and she was talking about me investing in a land or buying a land. And I'm like, okay, good. What is going to be the return on this investment? And she's like, the land will appreciate by like 40%. There's an estimate that in 6 months, the land will appreciate by 40%. I'm like, okay, good. What else do I need to know before I commence on this? She was like, if the investment goes bad, we can refund your money 100%. That's a lie. There's most companies that have refund policy cannot refund your money. And she goes, oh, there's a lawyer that we can. No. So transparency is very important. I prefer knowing what a business is all about. Don't be scared. There are always policies in business. The fact that you have your way of operating does not mean that people would not buy. I feel it is even better for you to put all your onions and put all your your policy for operating out there. Let it be that, oh, I'm going to do this or not. Not after people have invested in your company and they now start finding out a lot of things about your business. Safety and growth, diversification. Diversification is more on the financial firms, right? How do you diversify your products to be able to make more revenue? You look at your target market, you have Gen Zs, you have millennials, you have Gen X, you have retirement age. These people have different goals, and you have to align whatever impact you're giving to the market according to the goals of this particular age group. For example, when somebody that is like 60 something or 60 something years of age comes to meet me and say, Edith, I want to do an investment. How can I go about this? The first thing I want to say is, sir, ma, what is your goal? You don't need to ask me twice. Capital preservation. A 65-year-old person is not looking at the interest rate that the person is earning. That's for a Gen Z. A 65-year-old person is not ready to take the same risks as a young person that still says, oh, I could just play around and see how it goes. If they lose funds, it doesn't matter. These are some people's retirement funds. So you want to look at different age group and know how to diversify your products to specifically meet different target audience. Then you want to also look at your content marketing. What kind of content do you put out on blogs, infographics, interesting videos, webinars? People do not understand that technology has made business so easy. And anybody that owns a business will be doing a lot of, cheats on themselves, not to leverage on technology. Then you look at social media marketing. You want to develop strong presence, relevance on different platforms, TikTok, social media, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. What's your presence like? How are you engaging these customers? It's not just about selling. Day-to-day activities. Are you giving them market updates? Are you telling them what inflation is doing? Are you telling them why this product is something that can cushion the effect of inflation? How are you relating the product that you are giving out to the market to align with the market situation? Talk about word of marketing. That's another strategy, but a lot of people don't do this anymore. Why? Because the cost of manpower is a lot. And if I can leverage on technology, why not? Targeted campaign, I already spoke on this. You want to give out campaigns to people of different age groups. Like I said, retirement, parents that are paying school fees. You want to give them ideas on how whatever investment plans that they are making or whatever plans that they are making in the next 3 months can be able to give them a revenue that would give returns for them to, attend to their financial needs in the next 3 months. Why? Because they have school fees to pay. You're not going to lock in anybody's funds. Why? Because you want to make money. No. So every campaign that is going out must be targeted. Then leveraging human resources. A lot of people do not see the need to go on trainings, business trainings, and improve their knowledge. Some companies don't even give access to their staff members to use all these professional development platforms like Udemy, Coursera, giving free opportunities for people to develop their skills. Why? Because at the long run, it's going to tell on your productivity. Right? So before we go ahead, guys, is there any question? Let's be as interactive as possible. I'm not even one to do a lot of talking on slides. I prefer one-on-one conversations. So tell me, is there anything that you want to ask, you want us to focus on before we go ahead? All right. So if there's no question, your sales and when you're talking about your strategy for let's say a particular fiscal year, you want to look at your sales and your customer call, especially for a salesperson. I'm speaking from the sales side. That's revenue generation, client retention, new client onboarding, and all of those things. What are your targeted metrics? If I say, oh, I have a strategy towards sales, how much return is this particular strategy going to do on my revenue? Is it 30%? If I say I want to leverage on technology or using CRM like Zoho, if I do email marketing, how much estimate can I say that this particular idea or strategy is going to bring into my firm? If I'm doing digital marketing, I'm spending on digital marketing. How much is this? So you have to be able to have a key performance metrics towards all your strategies. Your referral programs, it's not just about doing it. You have to say, oh, 50% of my revenue is coming from referral program. 50% of my other revenue is coming from brand ambassador onboarding and partnership. 20% of my revenue is coming from one-on-one mouth-to-mouth conversation with clients. Client calls and all of the whole physical campaigns. You want to look at all of those things. And then this is just like a summary of year-on-year comparison on the use of Zoho email marketing. So in 2025, I think I joined commercial in 2023. So in 2024, sorry, not 2025, 2024, I came up with an idea. I said, we want to go to schools to market our products. But these people have emails, right? These people have mobile phones, right? They have phone numbers, they receive SMS. Why would I spend so much money on campaigns physically when I can reach out to these people via emails? So I brought up the idea. I brought Zoho on board. I onboarded them and I said, all right, let's see what it will give us in the space of 3 years. And this graph is just an explanation to how much increase in performance that Zoho marketing has given in the space of 2022, 2023, and 2024. That's the magic of technology. People receive email marketing. You might think they are not opening it, but what subject are you using? How much are you calling their attention to it? Are you saying, okay, for example, like salary rate, I'm like, the alert is in, or what am I doing with 50% of my salary? Or what should I do to make this money that is in my account work for me without me having to sweat the funds in any business, right? So you need catchy content and you will realize how much technology can do for you in your business. Guys, do we have any question? Thank you, David. I'm not seeing any following LinkedIn. Okay, thank you so much. Okay. All right. So if we don't have any question, let's just look at one of the last ideas towards marketing, awareness. You want to create awareness, global awareness on your products and your services. You want to look at your target audience. You want to look at your competitive metrics. Who are the other competitors in the market? For example, I sell mutual funds. I know that there is Stanbic IBT, there is Stanbic IBTC, there is ARM, there is, there are a lot of mutual funds out there. What am I doing differently that will help my mutual fund to be selected amongst many? What kind of awareness are you giving out to the market? Visibility, how are you improving your visibility via promotional campaigns? Are you making use of Google Ads? Are you making use of IG and Facebook target audience? How well are you engaging these people? How well are your campaigns or your emails or your blog posts relating with what is happening in the country? I was speaking to a few people during our Tuesday morning talk because I don't know if you are aware about that Tuesday morning talk with Taiwan in it. And somebody asked me, said, what is your return on investment? I said, my return for investment is currently 21% on the mutual fund. And the person says, do you know that inflation is approaching 40%? I said, yes, I know. He said, please, how is this return going to match the effect of inflation? And the person beats me hands down there. But you know the truth. The truth is that there is no investment that can match inflation. Nigeria has got into that situation already. We just have to accept our fate. But how can you manage it is the conversation, right? So you want to see how well to structure your campaigns. You want to see how well to attack your target audience to be attracted to your product. And that's where I come on engagement. Thoughtful leadership. How are you positioned in the market? The people see that, oh, when they want to collect their money now, you are giving them stories. Or somebody comes on the platform to say, oh, I want to liquidate my funds, and in 24 to 48 hours, the person cannot get the money to attend to urgent needs. What if it's a medical bill? Right? So how well are you positioned in the market? Your trust, I think I already spoke on that. And then you want to also build up the educational aspect of your business. Okay, you start a business. If somebody wants to start that same business tomorrow, is there anywhere on your platform that the person can check educational content on how it works, right? Are there blogs, are there ebooks on investments, on how well to manage my little salary? If I'm somebody that probably earns as little as 200,000 and inflation is almost 40%, is there anywhere on your platform that I can see how to manage 200,000 naira amidst inflation? Educational content, right? And these little things are things that a lot of people miss out in business development. Key factors. I just put this down. I said, now, what are the barriers that takes me from a customer being interested in my product and a customer not being interested in my product? Because as soon as I meet a customer, I'm saying, I see you as a potential customer. But it's what determines onboarding you to bringing you a customer, to making you a customer, is the service I can render to you. The ease of the service, majorly. What's my onboarding process like? What's my user experience, privacy like? Is it that I will onboard and fill your forms and tomorrow I'm seeing my details online? What's your turnaround time like? How fast do you respond to customers that need your service? What's your redemption like? How urgently can you provide these funds to people that have emergency? What's your pricing compared to your competitive audience out there, your competitive market? What is Stanbic doing? What is PiggyVest doing? What is Cowrywise doing? Look at your competitors out there and say, what can I do better to attract customers to my product? Look at economic factors. I think I leveraged on that. Look at Naira devaluation. Are you going to say, oh, I'm selling products, and you want to close your eyes to how FX is performing? Tell them, how can they gain from the Naira devaluation? Do you advise them to do a lot of investment in dollar now or not? These are the key things that move a person from interested to non-interested. Why? Because you can solve all the problems up there in their head. Every Nigerian right now has this problem. But how can you market your product? Is that the first question you want to ask yourself is, how can I solve this problem for every Nigerian? How is my product actually attending to all this with ease to be able to make somebody a customer? And customer experience retains them. So that's all for barrier. I just put all of this out to just use that as a conclusion and, give you ideas on how well you can enter the market with whatever products that you have. One, your product relaunch. If you already have a product that you think that, oh, when somebody clicks on your app, before it will even load, it will take speak to a tech team. There are a lot of tech firms that are ready to rebrand your product. Do a rebrand. Tell everybody, I'm doing a relaunch. What are the key things that customers have complained about? Do a survey. Ask people, how is this product satisfying you? You need to know your truth. You rebrand your product and you relaunch. You look at radio shows. There's Sound City, there are a lot of major people are driving to the office, they're listening to these things every day. Imagine every day I'm driving to the office, somebody's telling me how I can make 3 million naira in 1 month. I will call you immediately. Those are low-hanging fruits for marketing your product and building your business. These were the strategies that I proposed to for 2025, the coming year. And I know that a lot of people can benefit from this in their own personal business. Talking about direct account numbers, that's personal. Technology strategy implementation, I already talked about that. CRM, email marketing, SMS marketing, ease of educational materials, e-blogs, social media, email, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, leverage on all of those things. Your office space, if you are someone that have an office space where you work from, how do you even engage customers there? As little as that, from your reception, you want to improve. We don't want to, when I talk about business development, I don't leave any aspect unturned. They might be little, but trust me, they increase your revenue at the end of the year. It's not magic. You look at conferences, you attend conferences, you network, social clubs registration. Look at Polo Club. Do you know the amount of target audience that are there? Do you know the amount of high net worth individuals that you can meet in those kind of places? Don't underestimate the power of networking. Illiterate, I don't like to use the word illiterate, but I'm sorry. I use it here in the context of people not understanding the particular product that you are selling and having a need to be educated on it. So capture this particular target audience, create educational webinars, have them attend it, educate them on the lame level. Everybody deserves to patronize you, right? But if you do not help them to understand this product and you ignore that, you are in the market, so you don't need to leverage in my product. No, I'm ready to take my product to Lagos Island. How can I market my products to these market people? To these market people that don't necessarily have a mobile phone to see my marketing, my email marketing, my SMS marketing. How am I going to get these people? Think of POS. How can I put my product on maybe OPay or Money Point? How can I list it there? So that when they say, when they close their shop in the evening, they say, this 10% of money I've made, POS, please help me to look for that commercial partners money market fund and put it there. That's how you get all these people. You get field soldiers, put them there. Why? Because if they have questions, they can just walk into a kiosk to attend to all these people. Partnership, very important. Visibility in other parts. Some people just have their business in one location without expanding to other places. And in one way or the other, that affects your revenue at the end of the day. You do not necessarily have to be physically present anywhere. You could always have an online presence and expand your tentacles. I've spoken about partnership, advertising strategic points, podcasts. This Money or Love was the idea for February, that's Valentine's Day 2025. Money or Love. I sell investment. So if I'm telling you that I'm organizing an event on money or love, you come. So strategic targeted campaign is a very, very good way of increasing your business revenue at the end of the day. It's a good strategy. You're hosting events, hosting seminars, partnering with organizations. University of Lagos is there. Many schools are there. They have big target audience. They hold matriculation ceremonies. They hold convocation. That's target audience. How can you partner with them? How can you, I want to go anywhere. Like I remember when GTB was selling their shares. That was when I knew that I had a lot of work to do on my sales skills. people will open their cupboard and see buy GTB shares. It got to that point. And I'm sure everybody here can testify. So your product marketing is not something to take for granted. Then influencer collaboration. For me, I don't really advise a lot of people to work with influencers. Not like it's not a good thing, but you have to be strategic about it. Why? Because when you bring an external influencer into your business, especially those that are very big on the social space, if there's any dent on their reputation out there, it will affect your business on a big scale. Right? So I'm not saying you shouldn't, but you want to look for those that are in line with whatever you're selling. If you are in the entertainment space, you look for influencers that are in line with entertainment. If you are in investment space, you look for influencers that are in line with, any partnership works. Referral programs. How many coins do people get when they patronize you? It's not always all about you making money. How can your customers also make money? Because when I see that I'm going to make money by giving you money, I will give you more money. So you put money to make money. But where the idea of strategic idea coming is having to give little to get more. It's possible. All right, so I think that would be all. Expansion, yeah. So I talked about expanding our team, organogram, bringing a lot of other people to work with. They might not necessarily be full staff, but there's a way you can leverage on manpower and you go to bed and get results. Right? If you already have your leads, how are these leads being engaged? Are you calling them on their birthdays? Are you sending them little cakes? Are you sending them a text message? As little as those things, you will be very surprised if you put in all this. You look at your little loopholes in your business. Sit down, look at your little loopholes, things that you think that are not necessary. At the end of the day, you will see that it's possible for you to actually triple your revenue by the end of 2025 if you look at these little things that I've pointed out. I think that would really be all for our end. I think I'll be taking questions now.
All right. Thank you so very much, Edith. Thank you so very much. Please, let's have your questions. I'm sure this was, in fact, this was quite insightful and a lot for any business-minded person. And of course, generally innovators to be able to know that these things, you just can't cut corners. Thank you so very much once again, Edith.
Yeah.
Questions, please.
Yeah, any question. If you already have a business and you are having issues with your marketing, if you're having any issues with sales, meeting your targets, you might want to ask, what are the things you're not doing right? What are the things that you think you should focus more on? Why is this particular strategy that I've put in place not yielding results? Right?
Hello?
Bring case studies.
Alex? Yeah, good day. Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you clearly.
Okay, all right. So, currently I work in education consulting, right? And I understand the importance of being able to reach out to a lot of people, right? I mean, education is one, I would describe it as an essential service. So the only thing limiting you, of course, is the amount of people that you can reach out to. So recently, this year, contrast to how I've been doing it in previous years. In previous years, to tell them about what I do, eventually get them to give me their contact, then we continue online, right? But I found it to be too slow and I couldn't reach everybody at once because at the same time I have competitors as well. It's very crowded and it's a UNILAG. Okay, so the students resumed maybe sometime last month,
But I had been so terrified about the having to walk up to people all the time to tell them, oh, I do this, I do this, I do this. Because at the end of the day, they may tell you no right on the spot. So that rejection, I didn't want to have to cope with it mentally anymore because obviously I'm a bigger person now than I was 3 years ago when I started, right?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say that, oh, I now feel like, oh, I don't want to have to do the basics, but I'm tired of doing that. So I went to invent my software engineering skills to create a script that was able to download the data of all the students that enrolled for the program, about 3,000 of them. Then I wrote another script that extracted their contact information, emails, phone numbers, everything. And I built a website for one of the services I offer, which is an accommodation leasing service. So it took me about a month to get the code right and everything done. Then I started running the script. So every Excel sheet has about 500 contacts, and I have 8 of them. Then what I do is I just run the script. It sends emails to all of them. I set it up in such a way that it does that automatically. Then I also wrote another script that automatically sends WhatsApp messages from my laptop. So, but once I just set it up, it just does that over and over again. So right off the bat, in the first week, yes, I saw, in contrast to previous years, the first week I got sales for a lot of books, and that's a different marketing strategy where I kind of decided that I don't want to do physical marketing anymore. I just want to do online marketing because it's easier to scale. I can reach everybody at once. I've faced some very harsh rejections recently.
I get you. I've been there.
You're asking how do you get my number? I've police check. Somebody has said she's going to report into the EFCC and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, let's relax. Now, some people, I'm sending out 4,000 emails, 4,000 WhatsApp messages, but I'm getting responses that are not even up to 100. It's crazy. You know what? I don't think 100 people or 200 people have responded positively or even, okay, I've sold maybe to maybe 15, 20 clients in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, so what could I do more to leverage on that? Because I feel like me being able to contact 4,000 people is a big deal, right? So how do I convert this traffic, this reach to sales? How do I get them to, aside giving them products, I also give them advisory, which for me is like a value added that I'm not
exactly.
Helping you to get better, helping you to achieve your goals as a student, right? In exchange, I'm asking for your loyalty to patronize my other services or products that I have for you.
Okay. So firstly, let me ask you a question. What value do you give?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Yeah, I said I have a question. Just answer in few words. What value does your business give? What value can you say that your business gives?
So, my business provides clarity and direction.
What aspect?
And result oriented. In what aspect? So, for instance, many students come in, they don't know what books to buy. It's easy for you to just walk up to any bookstore and buy a book, right? How I make it different is I tell you that, see, I've studied this thing before. This book you want to buy is useless. Buy this one. So whenever people want to buy books, I tell them, they come up with their own list. And I tell them, don't use this thing because this is not going to give you what you want, right? Take this, right? Whether it is cheaper or more expensive.
Okay.
And in terms of service, hostels, accommodation, yes, I fit them with what they can afford. At the same time, sometimes I tell them, oh, you might not be able to afford this right now, but this will be better for you if you can plan towards affording this.
Okay, good. You give good value. Now, I have my next question to you is, how affordable is your service?
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry?
What do you say?
How affordable is your service?
pretty affordable. Pretty affordable.
Okay, so for example, now accommodation. If you're talking about accommodation, let's say in what location? Let's say Yaba, right?
Yes, specifically Akoka.
Akoka, good. And then you say, oh, you give opportunities for affordable accommodation in that area. Now, have you looked at a competitive analysis of other accommodation opportunities that are available to be it students or any of the residents around that area, and why they would rather take that particular option over yours? Have you tried to do any competitive analysis on that?
I have not. As a matter of fact, no.
Okay.
But
okay, good.
I do approach this psychology to how I deliver my own accommodation services. In that, the number one thing I always try to do is deal directly with the owner of the property.
Beautiful.
And the reason I do that is when you're dealing with other agents or other people, they add on their own cost to it. Okay. So at the end of the day, when I add on my own commission for the service, it's a lot. So you'll find that when you go on my website for accommodation service or mine, you may not see a lot of properties there because I've not been able to get access to the direct owners of those properties. I will never list a property that is listed by another agent, especially when I cannot confirm on the services and the utilities in the facility.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me, that's long value and also offer.
Now, let me give you an advice. This is a free sales tip for this business, and I hope that you can come back with a success story at the end of 2025. Now, look at partnering with a loan lending firm, maybe a microfinance bank. What are you going to do? You're going to have conversations with them on how people can take these properties, take loans to acquire these properties through you.
Okay.
Now, you can use Remitter to do maybe a direct debit on their account. The loan, whatever loan company you're going to be partnering with already knows how to automatically, get a deduction from this money, and have conversation with the landlord and say, is there a possibility that this rent would be paid on a monthly basis? Now, you will have more people patronize you if you have the option of 1, access to loan, 2, access to periodic payments. Like I said, if your product is not in line with what's happening in the market, inflation is real. I'm not kidding you. Inflation is real. People can't literally afford things anymore. So if I'm going to be selling a product, I'm also going to be selling solutions to the current problem in a way that it will make it easier for you to patronize me. And also, whatever conversation you'll be having with any loan or lending firm, it must be with you getting an incentive for any customer you bring through you. That's another revenue side for your business also. So look at that. How can you make payments easier? 1. Also, how can you list this service on bigger platforms? Go to churches. There are big churches that a lot of people in that area do not joke with. I think I was in UNILAG also. What was one of the most popular church then? What's their name? Is it Chapel? Yeah, Chapel, beside the Catholic church there. So you can speak to them there. How can you have a conversation? Because that's your target audience. How can you have a conversation with this target audience or your members, maybe on Sunday, talking to them about what I have? It's not about one-on-one or just approaching people to say, oh, I have this. No, you want to come through a body that is recognized and respected for you to be respected. And that's partnership. Right? So these little things, just implement this, make it easier, give yourself more visibility via platforms. Why I'm saying you should do one-on-one approach is because you might not want to spend so much on radio shows, webinars, seminars. No, you might not want to do all of those things. But trust me, if you're also a student, I'm sure you can get access through the DSA. You can get access to even matriculation campaigns. Your service being listed on flyers for matriculation. Just take the step, right? So expand visibility. Make ease for patronage. That's ease for patronage. Access to funds and monthly payments. And trust me, I'm sure you'll see some improvement. Do we have any other person that wants to discuss?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome, Emmanuel.
So thank you, Edith. This is quite, in fact, the sessions today have been very, very, very grand. Please let me just also call Ms. Oyedamola to help. Thank you. And of course, give us
You're welcome.
back.
Thank you.
Damola, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much, Miss.
Are you happy?
Yes, I am. The sessions today have all been wonderful and truly interactive and brilliant. And even our participants have been fully involved with their questions. Yes. And I'm sure that the wisdom they've gotten today, they would apply it in their business and innovations and use it to grow and scale. Thank you once again, Miss Edith. And to all our speakers, thank you to Mr. Tunde Family, who stood in for Mr. Oluwaseun Agbejimi, to Mr. Olufemi Chris, and now Miss Edith Balachi. Thank you so much for coming on board. Yes, so we will get the slides from these speakers, from whoever is wish to share with us. We'll get the slides from the speakers, and also it was recorded, and also share the recordings with everyone who registered for this bootcamp. And please, before you go, we would like you to just take a survey. I have posted the link in the chat, so please just take this survey.
So while the survey is ongoing, I want to give our World Summit Awards theme song, so we can have that by this time.
Recognizing inventors is the World Summit Award. Oh yeah, celebrating good people.
Hi sir,
Oh yeah,
that's good.
Oh no,
oh, I think someone
that is waiting, anticipating now.
Yes, Dorcas, I think I know.
Yes, okay. I wanted to ask about the recording.
Yes, the recording you register for the bootcamp.
Is the World Summit Award.
Yeah, they sent me a mail, ma.
Recognizing inventors is the World Summit Award.
Yes, you get it.
Oh yeah, celebrating good people.
Thank you, ma.
You're welcome. Please, everyone, thank you so much.
Oh yeah,
thank you so much for coming back to our party.
Oh no, see all these people looking so beautiful, so beautiful.
I'm still see.
Right. So I hope the surveys are ongoing. I hope the surveys are ongoing. Once you can
Zainab. Hello? Hello?
I did not know anywhere.
Hello, hosts. Hello?
Right. Yeah, please. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, the Google form link that was sent, can the person send the full link instead of this short link? Because the forms of GLE has been having issues for some months now.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, this link, right? Let me confirm.
Yeah.
Let me confirm if
We
I
send the full link, the full Google link instead of this short link.
Oh, okay. This is the short one. But at any rate, we should also invoke
Having
the
issues.
proper line. Okay, it says access denied. Or is it that requests?
No. Forms of GLE, the host domain is having issues.
Oh, okay. Please, I think that will be addressed. We'll probably, of course, we'll serve the survey round to every participant. That should be what we'll do. So at this moment, I say thank you, everyone. And please, tomorrow, let's wrap it up. Before I wrap it up very beautifully, this session, we have almost over 150 participants, and only to have pretty few people. We think we can do better. Let's wrap it up tomorrow, and tomorrow we'll be expecting quite a whole lot of fantastic speakers. One of them is Nigeria's global champion at the last United Nations World Summit Awards in Mexico, Skukes, an education category innovator, who would also be on that team. We have one other. We have okay, let me just have a rundown of those that will be meeting tomorrow. We'll have an opportunity to hear from Damilola, that is the founder of Skooks. Then we'll be listening also to a comrade-looking, very brilliant human being, Adekito Isaac Adeyemi, who will be doing something on digital marketing and social media strategies. And we would also be having Moses Oluwatowo Amos, a World Summit Youth Ambassador for Nigeria, who would actually be doing something on taking the market, of course, taking market-ready actions on the SDGs. And of course, knowing that even in Nigeria, quite a lot of young people have been doing one fantastic thing or the other, which I'm sure is going to share some of their past projects and what have you. So at this point, I'm happy to give it a closure. So the World Summit Award program, the World Summit Award Entrepreneurship and Innovation Camp continues tomorrow, day 3. And thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.